Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another Friday night, which you know what that means, another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you have joined the live stream or have graced us with your presence on the YouTube channel, first of all, welcome. The way this works, super simple. You're going to see on your screen somewhere a chat box. In that chat box, you'll enter your question, comment, concerns of the day, and I go through them in the order they come in. Sometimes I have the answers, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have a great time talking about lawn care. Guys, we didn't get rained out today, so I decided to try streaming outside again. You guys seem to like that the last time I did it a few weeks ago, so we're gonna try it. We'll see how well this works out. Let's see who we have in the live stream tonight. We got Jackie Bear kicking it off, saying, hope you have an excellent stream. Let's roll, brother. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully everything holds out. You know, there's always the chance of technical problems whenever you're doing this because it's streaming over wireless, but hopefully it all works, and hopefully we have a great time this evening. So I've been getting a lot of email from you guys, especially the folks out in Texas. You guys have been getting a lot of rain. I mean, lawns are drying out. All I can tell you, I said I would definitely reach out and give you guys this PSA just to hold the line. Hold the line. It's going to get better. This whole idea of not getting rain for months on end cannot last forever, and eventually you guys should get some rain to help improve what's going on with your lawn situation. So I know it stinks. I've been posting YouTube stories of showing like how much rain we're getting here in Georgia, and that doesn't help you guys a lot. But just hang on, it will get better with time. All right, next up we got Ben Raham in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone. My late season goals: keep pushing for the renovation to fill in the remaining gaps. Pre-emergent at the right time and set up for next season. I'm 80% coverage and gaining. Thanks, rain in North Georgia." Yeah, guys, so really the theme of the live stream tonight, as you guys saw from the thumbnail, is let's talk about those late season lawn goals. I know it's, there's still summer left. We're about out of time for top dressing. It's getting to the point where if you're going to do it, you really need to get on that. But there's still a bit of time left if you want to do a very light top dressing. But time is quickly running out. But it's almost about to be pre-emergent season, so start thinking about that. I sent out a couple of emails, did a couple of posts on the importance of pre-emergent, and when it comes to that, remember, a bit early is better than a bit late. So just keep that in mind when you are planning your fall pre-emergent. So we'll get digging that a little bit, and any other questions that you guys have tonight. Any other questions you have tonight? All right, next up we got VMH. VMH is in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday." So guys, VMH, he sent some pictures to the live stream to show the current state of his lawn. He top dressed it, I want to say it was 4 weeks ago at this point. And let me show you guys how the lawn is looking today. Take a look at this, guys. It's pretty sweet. Look how flat and smooth that is. It's coming across really good, right? I think that's That's solid. Smooth, man. You did a great job, sir. That is looking crisp. We gave us a close up there to show us how good the lawn recovered from all that leveling work. Really cool, man. I'll tell you, like, leveling a lawn is a ton of work. You guys have seen me do it a bunch of times. You've seen me have other people do it. And while it is a ton of work, the rewards, one in appearance, but also like the benefits you get as far as drainage and all the other benefits you get from top dressing a lawn, you can see VMH is really starting to enjoy that, which is awesome. So keep going, sir. Compared to where you were last year, huge change. So just keep going. Really excited to see where things go as you continue working on your lawn. All right, Ben Raham's up next. He says, thanks for hosting, Ron. Great topic. This should be a fun one as usual. Yeah, guys. So really, with the season, the summer beginning to taper off. It's not, we're still in summer, but it's starting to slow down a little bit. It's still time to. You can still get your lawn looking great. I mean, some of you guys have been, especially out in Texas, I know, have been dealing with a lot of heat stress, lack of water, that kind of thing. But just if you keep up with your mowing, keep up with the bit of water you are able to put on the lawn, you can still have. Put it this way, compared to the other lawns in your neighborhood, your lawn should still be the example. It should still be the one dominating the neighborhood, even though it's not looking the way you might like. You can still be, ahead of everyone else. That's the thing, right? I mean, I realize that, without water, without Mother Nature cooperating, there's only so much we can do. But keep working at it, and it can still get there. So some of my lawn goals, if you guys have been following the YouTube stories, is one, to get this all to recover from top dressing. That's goal one. But then also there's been a few areas I've been spraying. I've been testing out glyphosate and fusillade application, and I'm looking at it right now, it is absolutely crushing the Bermuda that's in the beds and whatnot. There's also some areas around the side here. It's absolutely crushing it. So if you guys want to see that, I will show you. I'll do a couple things. One, tomorrow morning I'll do a YouTube story and show like the areas where the fusillade glyphosate combination has been working on the grass. And then I'll also do a post on the community post on YouTube so you guys can see what it looks like as well too. I'm a big fan of that combination, guys. Here's why. Because a lot of times, right, people will go out and they will use glyphosate Roundup with a herbicide, a product called Diaquat, which produces like visual results very quickly, right? Pretty much it defoliates the grass, it burns the leaf up. But the negative of that is that you find that as far as the grass being able to really uptake the fusillade, really being able to take in the Roundup, the glyphosate, and really kill it, you're really kind of shooting yourself, in the foot by doing that. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing with glyphosate, a fusillade combination. So for any of you guys that have like mulch beds or areas where you are trying to non-selectively kill Bermuda grass, like that combination I think is going to work really well for you. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep monitoring it, but so far confidence is very, very high, very high. All right, next up is Todd Gleaves. Todd says, happy Friday, everyone. What's going on, Todd? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. And Ben says, one more goal, soil test for the fall. Should I wait until dormancy sets in? No, I wouldn't. I mean, I'd get your soil testing done. Yeah, now you could do it now. You could do it September. It's fine. The reason why I would say that, Ben, is because even though you're not really fertilizing the lawn, you're not really feeding the lawn that much in the fall, at least if you have warm season grass, Bermuda, zoysia, St. Augustine, even though you're not feeding it a lot as far as nitrogen goes, there are other things. Really, the most important thing that comes out of a soil test, which is your soil pH, like that is going to be really important to getting the most out of what you're going to get for next season. So in Georgia, most of the lawn care services around here tend to apply lime. Our soil tends to trend more acidic. So if you get a soil test done, you're going to see what's going on in your lawn with your pH levels. You can begin working on that now so that next spring you're going to be good to go, because pH is unlike the macros. It can take a while to adjust. So that's why I'm a fan of soil testing at least twice a year, spring and fall. So spring to know how to plan your program for the season, and then fall to do two things. One, measure the effectiveness of your lawn care program throughout the season, see where the levels are, but then also two, to take a look at that soil pH, and then if you're around here, more than likely see whether you need a dolomitic or calcitic lime application to really prepare the lawn for the next season. So absolutely, sir, you can get it done now, you can get it done a month from now, that's fine. Just make sure you give yourself a good 3 to 4 weeks between your last fertilizer application and when you pull your cores for your soil test. Outside of that, sounds like you've got it worked out. All right. Next up is Todd Gleaves. He says, just finished a hide cut dropping it to 1 inch and edging. About to start dinner, and then we will weed whack and drop fertilizer before bed. Sounds like a plan, sir. Essential G tomorrow. It says tomorrow night, tomorrow bright and early. Should I wait until after Essential G to water? It's your call. You don't strictly have to water Essential G in. I mean, truth of the matter is, none of the products that Miramichi Green makes require that you water them in immediately after application. If it were me, I would. I mean, because if you did your fertilizer, and you're going to be putting in a product that really needs to get down into the soil. Now, it can get down from rainfall. It can get down from eventually just working its way down from dewfall, developing on the lawn every morning. There's lots of different ways it can get down in the soil. But if you got to water anyway, why not wait until you get all your granular products applied and then do your watering? You know what I mean? So that way you're getting the most out of it. You don't have to, but if it were me, I would. I definitely would. You can tell us what's for dinner, man. What's for dinner? Hopefully you're cooking up something good. All right, he says it's okay to water at night and then Essential G in the morning. Lawn is heat stressed. It's up to you. I mean, it's essential. I would not make my watering decisions around Essential G applications. I really wouldn't. Not around Essential G or carbonized PN applications. Literally do your program, and if it happens to be that you're going to put some water down and it's after you applied it, fine. But if it's up to you. If you water in the evenings and that's producing a good result for you, and tonight was your night to do it, then go for it. Absolutely go for it, especially if that's your point. You're saying the lawn is heat stressed. You can absolutely do that. I'm just talking from my perspective. If it were me, I would wait. I mean, because one extra day shouldn't make a huge difference, but it's totally your call. Either way will work. So guys, we have got 71 folks in the live stream so far, and it would be really nice if you guys would not mind hitting that like button, smashing that like button for me. It really does help the channel out quite a bit as far as getting more people to come in and enjoy the show along with you guys. So if you guys wouldn't mind doing that, I would really appreciate it. Doesn't cost anything either. You don't have to go to the store and buy anything. It's all for free. It's a great way to support the channel. All right, see, at Ben Raham, I'm just going to wait until post-dormancy to check. I've got deficiencies that need to be fixed. So that's another strategy as well. The only reason I'd say not waiting too long is that pH adjustments can take a while, right? I mean, I've done, in my testing I did last summer, I pulled a sample in June. I did a lime application, and then I tested again in late September, early October, and I did see a move in my soil pH in that 3 to 4 month period. So the whole idea is that you do want to give the soil, you want to give the lime enough time to react with the soil so you get the benefits of it. So I wouldn't wait till January to pull cores and then find out you have to do a lime app. You're just giving yourself less time to really to resolve any deficiencies in the lawn is what I'm getting to. All right, Tom V is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, thanks for the super quick turnaround on my fertilizer order this week. Ordered late Tuesday and received everything today. Awesome. Love to hear that. Love to hear that, dude. You have no idea. Like the logistics of getting everything out as quickly as possible. It takes a really big team. Between the team that we have here locally in Georgia and also the team, we work with Yard Mastery on a lot of the products for full fulfillment. Between what they do and then also what our local team does, it's the big thing is, I know what you guys order. You want your stuff. You want to get out there. You want to get applied. So I know what it's like to wait on things. So I try to make fast shipping one of the things that we do as best we can. Sometimes we don't always get it right, but we do our best to make sure that stuff gets out as soon as possible. All right, so Omar is up next. He says, worth upgrading from, I didn't hear what he says here. Okay, yep, here we go. Worth upgrading from a True Cut 27 to an Owlet or a Swordman. Man, that's a good question. Is it worth upgrading? It really depends. It depends on what you're attempting or I think that from a standpoint of gaining the ability to do cultivations to the lawn, so being able to verticut the lawn, being able to turf rake it, like that type of thing, from that perspective, absolutely. If you are also going by a quality of cut, the Owlet does produce a better cut than the True Cut does. It does, and better stripes. So because the mere fact you got that rear drum roller, you're just going to get better stripes, less hot spots. The weight of the mower is distributed more evenly, and again, the quality of cut is better, right? But it's if you're not going to take advantage of what the benefits of an Owlet, right, or a Swordman, which is the interchangeable cartridge system, then it's it's difficult. If you're only doing it strictly from a quality of cut standpoint, I might be more inclined to go for a greens mower. If all you care about is quality of cut, then I'd go for a greens mower, get a John Deere or a Toro. But really, if you've seen from just my lawn this season the benefits you can get from a regular turf raking program and a regular verticutting program, in addition to mowing, like if it were me, the Swordman is where I would go. That's where I would spend my money. I mean, the Owlet is where I would go. That's where I would spend my money, not the Swordman. The construction of the Owlet is better. I don't know why I said Swordman, but the construction of the Owlet is much better. Just in general, it's a better built machine, and it's I think you'll be pretty happy with it. I realize it's a big investment, but you're going to like the way it cuts, and you're also going to like the way your lawn looks with it. And it's just a huge convenience. Like Omar. Being able, I swore back. I think the last time I did my verticut was I think in 2018 or 2019, and I swore after I had a service come out and do it, I would never do it again because of the colossal mess that it makes, and that the amount of time you have to spend cleaning everything up, right? But now that you have the mere fact that there's a grass catcher on the front of the mower that all that trash goes into and saves you a bunch of time as far as cleanup, totally makes it worth it. Like, it makes turf raking more fun, makes verticutting more fun, because you don't have the horrible cleanup afterwards that you do using the traditional way of doing it. So something else to think about. I think it's worth it if you got the budget for it and it's just something you're in the market for a new mower, then by all means. TrueCut's a great mower, but overall your lawn will look better with a Swordman, with an Owlet. Given everything that it gives you the ability to do with an interchangeable cartridge mower. All right, Joey, I'm going to butcher your last name. Joey Amanchukwu says, finally I get to catch the show live. Yeah, you did. You're here. So now you're here. You got to ask a question, man. What's your question? You can't just catch it live. I mean, I appreciate that, but you got to also have a question or something, right? You want to get your most out of actually making it here live for a change, right? Okay, and let's see. You said, and the TrueCut has a front roller on it. Yeah, I mean it's still good, but the thing, Omar, is that with the TrueCut you got a roller. It could be a smooth roller or a grooved roller. But as far as the weight of the mower is distributed, on the back you have the two drive wheels. So if you ever look at a lawn that's cut with a TrueCut, especially one that's cut very often, you're going to see nice stripes, but you're also going to see like two more defined stripes within the stripes where the drive wheels go, right? So you're essentially, I would say you're not creating ruts, but the weight of the mower isn't evenly distributed like a drum propelled mower, like an Owlet, like Toro Greensmaster, like any greens mower, any mower that is propelled by a rear drum. Like, those mowers do produce a better cut, better stripes. Overall, that is what I would say is the way to go. The only benefit, the one superior advantage the TrueCut has, is if you have a very sloped lawn, right? It performs better on slopes than any other mower I have. That said, the greens mower can do well. The Owlet can also work on a slope. But if all you care about is mowing like a really slope or hilly areas, the TrueCut's going to do a better job. That's the main area where it has an advantage. Outside of that, I would say an interchangeable cartridge mower or a greens mower is gonna produce a better cut overall. All right, next up, let's see here. JCS Mike, he says, just wanted to say hello and thank you for always answering all our questions. Ron, I forgive you. You're very, very welcome. No problem at all, sir. It's fun. It's fun. It gives me a chance to, one, interact with you guys, learn more about the challenges you're having in your lawn, get to play with video gear, which I always love doing. It's a win-win for everybody, right? It's a win-win for everyone. And it just gives me a chance to continue trying to improve the quality of the program so I can do a better job for you guys, right? That is the goal. All right, Alex is up next. I don't think next to Alex. There's a different Alex. He says, Omar, I purchased the Swordman Electra and worth every penny. Got it on sale for $3,200. So there you go. You have someone else, an unsolicited, opinion as far as a interchangeable cartridge mower. He got the Swordman. He loves it. So that might be for you. It could be a Swordman. It could be an Owlet. Either way. I'm not sure price-wise, like how they compare it. I imagine the Owlet's probably a little bit more expensive, but the build quality of the Owlet is very good. It's a very well-built mower that's going to serve you well. And the team at Owlet are really good. If you have any kind of issues, which you shouldn't, but if you have any kind of issues, they stand behind their products. They're going to help you out. So should be good to go from that standpoint. All right, next up is Mr. Dwayne Hopkins. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Happy Friday, Dwayne. He says, excited about tonight's live stream. Thanks for all you do. I really do appreciate it, sir. Yeah, it should be a fun one tonight. I really wanted to do this last week, but we got literally a torrential downpour and got rained out. All this stuff doesn't work. Electricity and water tends to not mix too well. So I had to take it all on the side, which will end up there in about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to try and do the first 45 minutes to an hour out here, and then we will move inside. While we still have light, we will chat out here. All right, Heartfelt Fashion is in the house. Granger, he says, good evening, everyone. Ron, what's going on, Granger? Hopefully you're doing well. Fashion show's been looking pretty good, man. Keep going. Keep it up. Okay, Alex is weighing in now on the concern. He says, oh, that's my concern as well. I found a place near me that sharpens and grinds reels. I also have a California trimmer that I use as well as a backup. So I hear you. Yeah, that's the one thing, and that's a good point. As far as, the electric mowers tend to require less maintenance than the gas-powered ones. Like, there's no oil to change, there's no tune-ups, there's no carbs to fix, there's no air filters to service, none of that kind of stuff, right? But when it comes to sharpening, that is a concern, obviously, that you have to keep in mind. And in the event that something breaks, being able to get parts, is something that you also want to be mindful of too. But I mean, electric should be from a maintenance standpoint, should be less than what you have to deal with a gas powered mower. All right, Harwell Fashion says, will you change your height of cut for the winter? Great question. No plans to. I've already raised the height of cut a little bit, so I've been cutting it primarily 0.70 ever since getting the C27. I'm right now at 3/4 of an inch on 0.75. I raised it up just a little bit, and I think I'm going to leave it here for the rest of the season. I don't think there's any reason to really change the height of cut at this point. The lawn goes into dormancy, and it seems to tolerate 0.75 fairly well. Last year I went into dormancy at like 5/8, I think, so a little bit lower than I am now, and the lawn woke up just fine, no issues, no damage or anything like that. So I think 3/4 of an inch is a good height to leave it at. Partially because I don't want a tremendous mess to have to deal with in the spring, because springtime comes around, we got to scalp it. And it's because I have so much to cut, I tend to do like a pre-scalp. I break it up into two. I do like a light scalp in February, and then the main one in March. So if I raise the height of cut up to an inch and a quarter, that's a lot more debris to have to take out. You know what I mean? So considering that the lawn tolerates it, and that where I am in Georgia, if we get 1 or maybe 2 snow days an entire year, that's a lot. There's no reason for me to really raise the height of cut much higher than where I am now. So. Great question. I think you're in North Carolina, so maybe for you it might make more sense, but for me, no need to really go up much higher than 0.75. I'm pretty good where I am. All right, next up is Tavares Allen. I'm not sure if you're new, Tavares, but if you are, welcome. He says, hey Ron, finally got my California trimmer. I am so excited to start reel mowing my cool season perennial ryegrass lawn. Fall is coming, and it's my time to shine. First thing we got to do is we got to clap it up for that. We got to do it. It's got to happen. I mean, I always like to. We got to have it. It's got to happen. You got a new mower. You got your California trimmer. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. And yeah, man. I mean, so you got to tell us, Tavares, what height of cut are you going for on your perennial ryegrass? You sent me some pictures of the California trimmer and my lawn. I'll see if I can find them when I go inside. If you just sent them, I should be able to find them. So we'll see. But I can't do it right now while I'm out here, because if you guys see like what I'm doing with this laptop to be able to do your comments, like I'm controlling the computer inside from out here, and it's like I can't do email and that at the same time. But I will look at it once we move the show to inside here in about 30-40 minutes or so. But yeah, man, congrats on the mower. Here's if I can give you a piece of advice, Tavares. I mean, you can do what you want to do. If I can give you a piece of advice, I know a lot of the people that you're going to see, perhaps friends and Facebook folks that show you like all these great lawns mowed like super short, under ½ inch, all this kind of stuff. All I can recommend is start modestly with your height of cut adjustments. So if you went from a rotary mower now down to a reel mower, if you want to start cutting your perennial ryegrass at 1.25 inches, I'm not sure what this California trimmer goes to, but if it can cut at an inch, let's say start there, see how the grass does, get used to it, see if you like being able to get out there, at least twice a week is going to take to keep the lawn looking good, and then slowly work your way down. Don't get out there and try and be a hero and go straight for like ½ an inch on the first go. I would just slowly work your way down, because you got to realize just the mere fact that you're cutting your lawn a couple times a week with a reel mower is gonna look great. It's gonna look awesome. So especially if stripes are your thing, a little bit taller will produce better stripes than too short. So just something to keep in mind. I know you're just getting started with the mower, you're all excited to get going, but I don't want you to get out there and try and take it down to crazy low heights and then hate life because you're either scalping the lawn or it's just too much work to maintain the lawn at that height of cut. So something to keep in mind. All right, G Free's up next. He says, hey, good evening, Ron. Happy Friday. What's going on? Hashtag Strap Action Gang. What's going on, G Free? Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. Appreciate you. Uh, Dwayne is back. Dwayne is back. He says, let's see here. Oh no, I got Robert Randy saying, good evening, everyone. What's going on, Robert? Thanks for coming to check in, sir. Appreciate you. And then Dwayne is back. He says, hey, Ron, I haven't applied much to the lawn lately. Just Nutrizolve and plant growth regulator, water and mow. Lawn is looking great. Surprised since I haven't applied FERT in some time. Is it because of the plant growth regulator? So here's the thing, Dwayne. I don't know where your levels were in the as far as your nutrient levels when you stopped fertilizing it. I mean, when you say you haven't applied lately, what do you mean? You haven't applied like fertilizer in like 2 months, or you haven't applied fertilizer in a couple of weeks? If your levels were in the optimal zone, it's not like it's going to fall off. You know, they're going to fall off the face of the earth in you know, a week or even a month of not really applying additional product. And given the fact that you've been feeding the lawn regularly over time, I'm not surprised that it looks good even if you miss, you know, one fertilizer app, or you go a little bit lighter on a fertilizer app. So yeah, I'm not surprised at that. Growth regulator does help as far as the lawn maintaining its color, because every time you go out there and mow, you're cutting off less leaf, right? So the older leaf is darker, so it tends to produce a nicer color. It's not like, you know, on the label you won't see anything from Syngenta that says Primo Max is going to make your lawn dark, but it's a byproduct of using growth regulators that you tend to get a better color in the lawn. So it's a combination of things, man. It's the fact that you're doing a good fertilization program based on soil testing, the fact that you're mowing a lot, using PGR certainly doesn't hurt, and you're just seeing the benefits of it. You know what I mean? And that's always a good test, right? Because what you'll find is when you have lawns that are synthetically green, I like to say. I mean, if we add fertilizer, we're pushing growth that might not be there, right? But people that go out to go out to Home Depot, get a bag of Scott's Green Max, throw it on the lawn, and make it look nice and green. And as soon as they stop feeding the lawn, like not even after very much time, it falls off and it begins to look pretty horrible. Whereas if you take the approach of getting great looking grass as a byproduct of creating great soil, then it lasts longer. You know what I mean? It takes longer to get the effect to really get to the point where you are, but doing it the way that you're doing it, soil testing and then feeding the soil, improving the soil, and then you're getting your awesome grass as a byproduct is really the way to do it, because you're going to get the results like what you're seeing here. Hey, I haven't been doing a whole lot, and the lawn still looks great, right? So keep doing what you're doing, sir. Awesome. Glad to hear that your lawn's doing well. Keep up the great work. All right, Garland Holland says, good evening, Bermuda grass Shifu. I don't know about that. He says, PGR has helped me greatly since this arthritis is making me cut back on mowing. That's good, Garland. I mean, you know, applied properly. I mean, Syngenta says it can cut or can reduce mowing requirements by up to 50%. So even if it takes, you know, one mow a week away, that's or one mow every, let's say you're mowing the lawn you're mowing the lawn twice a week, right? So over the course of 2 weeks, that would be 4 mows. So instead of doing 4 mows, you're able to do 3 mows, and it still looks good. Then it's worth it, right? It's paid for itself. In your case, where you're having some back issues, it allows you to keep the lawn looking nice, you know, even though you're not out there mowing as much as you might like. Much you might like. I like it. All right, next up is Chris Ferguson. Chris Ferguson's in the house. He says, have you used or heard of Humachar or Dirt Booster Plus from Anderson's? It puts carbon and mycorrhiza fungi in the soil. Would you do a review on them? If not, I've been watching a YouTuber called Doc. Yeah, so I know Doc uses, I'm not sure if he's affiliated, if he like works for Anderson's, or I know he's definitely affiliated with them. But he likes the Dirt Booster and the Humachar products. I've never tried them myself. And really to do a real test, what I'd have to do is I'd have to take a section of my lawn and treat it how I normally treat it, and then take a section of my lawn and do Dirt Booster and Humachar to see what the differences are. I'm really happy with what I'm getting out of the Miramichi Green products. There's not really a ton of reason for me to do that, but that's what I'd have to do if I were to review the product or do a test like that. Like if you guys remember before the fence was here, that's what I did with Carbon Pro G. This area behind me, that area tends to, at least, well, now it's fenced off, but the area that's on the other side of the fence would tend to get dry throughout the summer because that's the highest part of the lawn, so water really wouldn't sit there. So when I started using the products from Miramichi Green, the ground products, I took that area and did a controlled test there. I only applied the products there, and I was able to observe the results that I got within a few weeks. I had to do something like that to be able to see if it's what benefits if any, I would see over what I'm currently doing with Humichar and Dirt Booster. People that use it seem to like it, you know, but it's just not something that I have ever used. So I can't really comment on it. Can't really comment on it, Chris. All right, and next up is Mo Breezy. He says, new to the channel, so far so good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that so far so good, and welcome to the channel. We always like having new viewers, new subscribers. We're trying to grow, you know what I mean? There's a lot going on, so it's always nice to find that new people are discovering the content, which is always good, always great stuff. All right, Heartfelt Fashion says, whose big dog is that? Is that behind you in the gate? It's the neighbor's. It's the neighbor's. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a neighbor's dog. So he just runs around. He probably want to get on the live stream, so he got his moment of fame there, right? Yep, that's a neighbor's dog. I don't have a dog. Don't have a dog. The closest thing to a dog I have is Alex's dog, which is Stella. So I don't have a dog. I don't want burn spots in the lawn. So that's my thing. Plus when I go on vacation, I don't want to have to have to figure out how to take care of it and that kind of thing. So. All right, Rich V70's in the house. Says, hey everybody, what's going on, Rich? Thanks for hanging out, sir. And then Gerald Jennings, he's got a question here about top dressing. Okay, I like this. He says, hey Ron, I have emerald zoysia and I plan to aerate tomorrow. Is it too late to top dress my lawn? It's not. Okay, Gerald, I'm not sure where you are in the country. Can you let me know in the chat where you are? If you're in Georgia, I mean, it's getting later in the season. What I would not do is a very heavy top dressing job. I would not do that. So literally, you know, I always say 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch is where I like to be. If you can get to that and really be disciplined about not going too heavy, I think you're going to be just fine. If you're going to, I mean, the thing is, after aerating is a good time to top dress. And given that you have zoysia does, you know, it tolerates cooler temperatures better than Bermuda. So it's going to probably grow for a little bit longer than a traditional Bermuda lawn will. So yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, sure, if you've got the time to do it, I'd say if not this weekend, sometime in the next upcoming week, then sure, go for that. But what I don't want to, what I want you to do is to be in like early September and top dressing the lawn. It's just a bit too late. You want, while there's still heat, the grass is still actively growing vigorously, that's when you want to do like what you're doing now, your aeration, your top dressing work. That's the time to really do that, not really in the fall for warm season grass. Cool season grass, yes, but for us, we want to get it done a bit sooner than later. All right, Duante Long is in the live stream. He has a question about Dallas grass. He says, I want to kill my neighbor's Dallas grass. What's the best method? Physically remove it. Physically remove it. I mean, you can spray it with glyphosate, with Roundup. That will injure it and knock it back, make it hate life, but it's unlikely to kill it. So you'll likely knock back that particular spot. It may stop growing very much for this season, but it's going to come back next season. The best way to get rid of Dallas grass is to physically remove it in residential lawns. Unfortunately, the herbicide that was really good for Dallas grass, is very effective against it, isn't rated for use on residential lawns anymore. They pulled the registration, so you're not supposed to spray it on residential lawns. So that leaves you with taking the more green and organic approach, which is digging it out. And that sounds like a lot of work, but if you'd be surprised if you get out there an hour, 45 minutes, a couple times a week, how much progress you can make. You know, I mean, assuming you have a normal sized lawn. If you got like, you know, 1/2 acre, then I mean that's probably not going to work very well. But if you have a normal sized lawn, you know, 3, 4, 5,000 square feet, in a couple of weeks you can clean up a lot in a lawn. If you just, you know, a little bit at a time, you're able to do that. So the best advice I can give you is just to physically remove it. There's not really a herbicide that you're supposed to spray on residential lawns that will truly kill Dallas grass, unfortunately. Appreciate the question, Duanta, and if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you coming to hang out. Thanks for the support. Really do appreciate it. All right, next up is Aaron G. Barnes. Aaron G. Barnes. He says, just sprigged St. Augustine. Do you think throwing some nitrogen on it would help it spread quicker? I mean, it might. I wouldn't go really heavy. So what I would do, Aaron, is you just sprigged it. Make sure it gets plenty of water. Water is probably really more important than trying to throw a bunch of fertilizer at it. Once it starts growing, if you want to give it if you want to include it in the fertilizer app that you're doing with the rest of your lawn, I think that can work just fine. But I wouldn't get out there and put the sprig in and like 5 minutes later you dump, you know, a handful of fertilizer on that spot. The more important thing than a lot of nitrogen is really water. Make sure it doesn't dry out, let it get established, let it grow, because there's already nitrogen in the soil where you put it, I'm sure, right? Let it start growing, and then whenever you do your next feeding, if that area gets some fertilizer on it as well, that'd be fine. But I wouldn't necessarily go out and do a a specific feeding on just targeting just some grasses you just literally sprigged. Does that make sense? So yes, but I wouldn't make it a special effort. I'm gonna make a special effort. So let's see, guys, what other questions, comments we have here. I'm making my point to try and get through the questions a bit faster, because one I would say I consider a complaint, but I know that if people join, let's say after the 8 o'clock hour, and I've got like a long queue, you tend to not, you tend to have to wait till you get your question answers, which can be kind of frustrating. So I'm trying to get the questions answered a bit faster. Super chats will also move you to the top of the queue as well too, but that's something that I'm keeping in mind. So guys, one thing that we have to start thinking about here soon while I look for the next comment is pre-emergent. I know we're into August, but really, when it comes to pre-emergent, a bit early is better than a bit late. Now for me, I'm going to be doing my pre-emergent app in September. The main goal for pretty much everyone in the Southeast United States when it comes to pre-emergent is to keep primarily Poanua out of our lawns. Because whenever Bermuda goes dormant, turns this nice golden brown. I know you guys up north think it's dead, but it's not. It's just golden brown. It's taking a break. The green stuff that you see in the lawn during the wintertime, more than likely is Poanua. And the best way to prevent that from really getting out of control is to get your pre-emergent application done sooner in the season, sooner in the fall than later. So we can talk about that a little bit in the live stream tonight if you guys are interested in that. I've got some ideas for you as far as what you can do for warm season grass and then for cool season grass. So there's a couple of different strategies that you can take from the very basic to more advanced. So we can talk about that a little bit later, probably around the 8 o'clock hour or so. Once I move back inside, I'll show you guys some basic products you can use, and then some combinations that you can use that will work well for both cool season and warm season grass to really control weeds in your lawn over the fall. All right, next up is Joey. Amanchu's back. He's got a question. He says, how do I recover from my lawn maintenance cutting the lawn too low? I had a nice green color, but now it's browning the day after. Not happy at all. Yeah, so Joey, unfortunately, the answer is just time, sir. It's, if they took too much off, the only way to really get the lawn to recover, it's going to recover over time on its own. I had a question from a viewer. I think I told you guys a story last week. They went on vacation for 3 weeks. Their neighbor cut the lawn one time in 3 weeks, and they were shocked because they've been using like Primo on it, they've been using growth regulator on it, but it's still discolored. I mean, there's still a lot of green, but there were some areas that had some brown in it because they took too much off, right? And what you're experiencing is the lawn care company just probably got lazy and decided to not raise the height of cut, but it's going to recover. I can promise you it's going to bounce back. I'm assuming that you have Bermuda grass. It's going to look ugly for 10 days. The next week, 7 to 10 days, it should look a lot better than it does now. So I don't have a better answer for you. The only thing I can say is the next time you talk to them, say, hey, listen, last time you guys cut my lawn, you scalped it. Would you mind raising the height of cut up a little bit, but so that doesn't happen again? Because if they're coming out, once every 2 weeks, I'm not sure what kind of program you are on with them as far as mowing goes. But if they're only mowing your lawn once every couple of weeks, with Bermuda, you're going to be hard pressed to keep it looking good much lower than 2 inches. I mean, really 2.5 inches is probably where you need to be if you're only mowing it once every couple of weeks. You're mowing it once a week. 2 inches to 1 3/4 inches is doable, like for once a week mowing. But again, if they're not mowing the lawn a couple times a week like would be ideal, you really got to sacrifice having a higher height of cut, because otherwise you're going to be scalping each time they do it. Especially this time of year, you're going to find, Joey, is that the lawn is growing, the grass is growing really aggressively with all the heat we're getting. So definitely, if they're not going to mow more frequently, mowing taller is going to be the way to go. It's going to be the way to go. So hope that helps. And he says, and you pronounce my name perfectly. Thank you. Well, that's good. I'm glad I got there, man, because I took a stab at it, and it's I'll tell you this, you are the first Amanchuku that I have ever met. So there you go. You're the first one, and I'm glad that I didn't butcher your name, because I've definitely been known for doing that here on the show a time or 17. All right, next up is to Trilla. It says, hey Ron, the backyard is looking good. It is filling in nicely. Just let me know when you're ready for me to break the pool the pools stick out. Yeah, it's getting there, guys. It's coming back. I would show it to you, but it's getting kind of dark right now. I'm not sure how well it would come across on camera. I'm planning to mow tomorrow, so maybe if you guys are interested, I might live stream mowing the lawn tomorrow. You can check it out after it gets a good cut. But yeah, I am happy with it. It's still not 100%. Obviously, there's still a few spots with some sand. Throughout it, there's some heavy areas still there, but it's definitely recovering. By the end of this month, it should be looking a lot better, which was my goal with this top dressing. So yeah, it's getting there, man. It's getting there too, Trillo. All right, next up is Wayne C. He says, "Hey Ron, love the live show. Have you tried spoon juice? I saw it on Lawn Care Nut. I have not. I've not heard it. I think it's a newer product that Alan and the team at Yard Mastery have recently released. I've never tried it. I've not tried that or any of the what's the other products I use? Any of the liquids. I've never used any of their liquids. Like the pre-emergent I've used, like the Yard Mastery dithiopyr and Prediamine. I've used that and a few other products. But as far as the liquids, I have not used that because I primarily use the products from Ecologel, so like Turfplex, Nutrizol, like those are my, and then also from Miracle Green, the 901C. Those are my go-tos as far as liquid fertilizer products. Nothing wrong with the spoon juice, I'm sure. I'm sure it's a great product, but I've never used it myself. All right. Next up is Tavares. He says he's back with more context. He says, "Hey Ron, I maintain a 2-inch cut with the Honda rotary, but plan on getting down to 1.25 inches with the California trimmer." Okay, so if you're at 2, yeah, so 2 to 1.25 inches is still a pretty drastic change. It doesn't sound like much, but it is a pretty big change. Because I'll definitely take the lawn down slowly, and we'll be adding PGR to my program. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good plan, Tavares. So once the lawn starts waking up from all this hot weather and begins just starts looking good, then work your way down slowly. Because the thing you don't want to do is just discolor the lawn, scalp it, make it look ugly. You've got plenty of time given the fact that you have cool season grass. So just take your time and slowly work your way down, and you're going to be happy with it. Again, even at between 2 inches and 1.25 inches, it's gonna look good just due to the fact that you're cutting it with a real mower. I didn't realize the California trimmers went up that tall. I thought they were around the 1.25 inch height, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I've never actually mowed my lawn with one, so I'm not sure. But I thought that was the mower that you could not go too high with, or is that the McLean? Maybe it's one of the two that there's a limit of how tall you can go. Definitely keep me posted, sir. Let us know how the lawn does with the new mower. All right, next up, Keith Mullen is up next. He says, "I agree. A fresh mow makes the lawn great, so I mow often. But what's with the how? But what's the how and why behind why I mow a lot? Turf type tall fescue doesn't spread. Do the blades just get thicker from being cut all the time?" Well, you think about it, right? If you have a haircut, if you only cut your hair whenever it needs to be cut, so like in my case, I cut my hair every 2 weeks, but I'm being lazy, right? But really, if I want my hair to really look good, like tonight, it's kind of looking kind of scraggly. If I really want it to look good, I cut it weekly. You know what I mean? So the grass is the same way because it's not like it all grows all evenly. Like if you cut it and it's all smooth, that it's all gonna all grow all at the same height. So which is why it tends to look a bit uneven and unsightly. So if you're cutting it more frequently, you're not promoting it. You're not promoting spreading, but what you are causing from an appearance standpoint is for the lawn to pretty much always look even. That's why it looks good. So you think about it, like what changes after you mow your lawn? Like you look at my lawn, you guys can't see it now, but after you look at my lawn or even your lawn, Keith. Before and after, the thing that is most apparent is that it's even. There's not high spots, low spots. Overall, it's even. So that's why mowing a lot tends to cause a better appearance look. Now, if you have a grass like Bermuda, a creeping grass, then yes, you can stimulate more growth, and the same is true for your turf type tall fescue. Like any lawn, any grass is going to look better with regular mowing. If you're mowing it, once a week, it's going to look okay. If you mow it twice a week, it's going to look even better. And that's true for all grass types. The only thing you really got to make sure of is that as you pick up your mowing frequency, that you keep your equipment sharp. Because if you mow a lawn a bunch with a dull mower with a not sharp blade, it's actually going to look worse because you're going to start finding that it's going to discolor. You're going to be tearing at the grass. You're increasing your chance for disease problems. So as long as the equipment is sharp, if you can mow it at least twice a week, it's going to look better. And that's true for pretty much all all grass types. It's purely an appearance thing is why it looks better, because it's not uneven anymore. Like this, before the show, I gave my zoysia plot here a little trim because it was all, it was growing all out, and it looks better now. Appearance-wise, it looks better. I don't know, it's something about people, right? About humans, we like order. We like order. We like things, we like lines. We like things to be straight for the most part. So that's why, from an appearance standpoint, your lawn just looks better after mowing it. All right, next up is Said Judson. He says, found out I have existing tree roots in the soil sucking up the water and nutrients. Been digging for 2 weeks. Push back the renovation to Labor Day here in Iowa. Okay, so you say existing tree roots, are they attached to a tree, or are they like remnants from an old tree that are just rotting? Because if they're attached to an existing tree, if you start removing roots, the tree's not gonna like that. You're gonna have a bad result if you keep taking out too much more of the tree's root system. So something to keep in mind about that, right? If it's old stuff, then that's fine, and that really shouldn't be taking up nutrients. But if it's an actively growing tree, I would not recommend removing the roots unless you're trying to get rid of the tree. So something to keep in mind. Something you can do too is just make sure if you find an area, the area around the tree is not doing as well because the tree's drawing up more moisture. You can try increasing your watering in that area a little bit, but more than likely, in most cases, grass that's right under a tree is not doing well, or is not doing as well. Grass that is not under the tree due to lack of water. A lot of times it's because of sunlight. Like grass needs sunlight, and unless you have a cool season grass like fescue that does really well with shaded areas, rye and KBG can be okay, but really fescue is like your grass that does really well in shade. Unless you have that grass type, don't mistake the fact that the grass is maybe a bit thin under a tree for the tree sucking up all the nutrients and water. Granted, it does use that. It does take more nutrients and water disproportionately than grass does. But a lot of times when you see a difference in color and vigor in a lawn of grass is growing under a tree versus grass is growing 20 feet away from the tree, is the fact that the grass that's not right under the tree is getting a lot more sunlight. So just something to keep in mind and consider before you get out there and start doing too much surgery on the tree. Too much surgery on the tree. All right, next up is Reverend Jones. We got a Reverend in the house. He says, hey Ron, decided to do a full renovation on my lawn because carpet grass and crabgrass have taken over to the point of no return. I live in Hawaii, gonna plant zoysia. Should I just wait until next spring? Yeah, well, yeah, it depends. I'm not sure what Hawaii's growing season is like. I'm not sure if it's like how it is here where you have like a time of the year when it gets dormant, you have a period of dormancy. I don't know if that's the case in Hawaii, but if you want to wait till next spring, you can. What you can do is wait till next spring to kill off the existing lawn, the existing grass. You got crabgrass and carpet grass, and then after you're done with that, if you want to, bring zoysia sod in and then resod the lawn, then by all means, that's a good strategy. I think that can work well. But definitely make sure you do as much as you can, maybe a couple rounds of glyphosate before you do the zoysia, because that's going to reduce the likelihood of how much breakthrough of the old grass you have. You're still probably going to get a little bit, but what you don't want to do is get out there and just cut the existing lawn really short. Maybe disturb the soil a bit and just lay zoysia on top of that. That's not going to produce a good result. So do as much as you can to kill off the existing grass prior to bringing the zoysia in. Just something to keep in mind. It's a word of advice. All right, let's and definitely let me know what as far as Hawaii goes. What time of year do lawns in Hawaii begin to check out? Do you guys get growth year round, or is there really a time when it's kind of like how we are here in Georgia, we get a period of dormancy? It'd be interesting to know that. So you could let me know, Reverend Jones. I would appreciate hearing. All right, Said Johnson is back. He says, planning on aeration and leveling and top dressing with receding, unsure of the order of operations. So you're planning to aerate, level, top dress, and then seed. So you're doing a full reno. Is that what we're doing? Just that area, or a full renovation? It sounds like. So we'll answer that question, Said, and then we will head inside. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that one for when I go inside. So I'm not going to skip your question, Said, because that's a long one. I'm going to be talking for a while, and the light is starting to go away from us, so I don't want to get too long-winded on that one, and not give you a good answer. So give me 1 second there. Duante Long says, is there a tool? Is there a tool for what? I forget what your question was earlier, Duante. I forget what you were asking me. I'm scrolling back here to see if I can find it. I'm not sure what your, is there a tool for what? Just ask your question again as far as I'm not sure what the question is. All right. Next is Tony Davis. Tony Davis. He says, "Hey Ron, Virginia buttonweed. Oh my God, hard to kill. What do I use?" It is difficult to kill. It is difficult to kill. If you have warm season grass, Celsius will do it, but you got to go after the buttonweed at the higher rate. So on the Celsius label, you will see Virginia buttonweed listed, but it's going to list it under the higher rate area. So read the label for Celsius, go with that, and then make sure you surfactant along with it. So what I'm showing you here, I might be able to show you real quick here. Can I pull that up? Let's see. I think I can do it out here. We'll do it. All right. So we go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, go to weed killer. So on the Celsius label, and then we'll pick up Celsius. But it's going to list it under the higher rate. And then the label is on here somewhere. I'm pretty sure that I put
read
the label
for
Celsius.
Find it.
Go with that, and then make sure you surfactant along with it. So what I'm showing you
in the label,
here, I might be able to show you real quick here.
the carefully prepared product label. Down here, as far as rates, the table it shows various
it shows you here weeds controlled at the 0.057 ounce rate, but then Virginia buttonweed gets an honorable mention being here, or I think in prepared product label. Down here, as far as rates, the table it shows various it shows you here.
so for buttonweed, so for difficult to control weeds such as Virginia buttonweed or dollarweed, I make a separate application, and so we have to do 2 apps and at a higher rate is what you're going to need to do, Tony. So realize it's going to take more than one. Definitely, I would recommend using surfactant with Celsius for the best results. You don't always have to use surfactant to get a good result with Celsius, but for buttonweed, the fact is that it got its own little section as far as application rates, lets you know that it is a tough one, and then just do a second app. I would go with the high rate, use a surfactant with it, and that should take care of the problem. After a second app, you should find that it dies off. And keep in mind too, with Celsius, it is not like Diaquat or even like Roundup, where like literally you're gonna spray it and a couple days later you're gonna see a lot of visible results. Typically, it takes around 10 days, 7 to 10 days, and then you should start seeing the buttonweed being injured. So you could apply Celsius against the buttonweed, give it 2 to 3 weeks, probably more along that 3-week time frame. And if you want to do another application, again with surfactant, that should finish it off fairly well. So Celsius is what I would recommend going with. We do carry it at the golf course lawn store, so that is what I would I'd recommend if you are looking to get rid of Virginia buttonweed and you have a warm season grass like Bermuda or zoysia. All right, last question before we go in. We move the show inside because it's starting to get a little dark out here. And then when I get back, I'm going to take on the question from said about aeration top dressing. It's gonna be the first one. So Shane says, okay, hey Ron, I keep on loving what you do about going to a battery backpack sprayer. Got my eye on the DeWalt just cause all my tools are DeWalt. Makes sense. Is the Typhoon worth the extra money? Any thoughts? Really, here's the thing. You can get a great result with pretty much any sprayer. As long as it's got constant pressure, you can get a good result with it. The most important thing, more important than which sprayer you go with, is the fact that you take a bit of time to calibrate the sprayer using the spray tip you're going to be using. And if you do that, you're going to get a good result. I do like the Flow Zone. I do like the Yard Mastery sprayer. Both those are excellent sprayers. I would consider this to be more top tier sprayers, more expensive, a more higher end sprayer. But if you've got the DeWalt tools and you want to get a DeWalt sprayer for that reason, that's a decent strategy as well. The thing you got to keep in mind is, even with my lawn, I can spray my entire lawn like 3 times on a single charge with the Typhoon or the Yard Mastery sprayer. So I've got plenty of juice to be able to do that. So from a standpoint of the battery of it being the exact same battery of my other power tools, not really as a big a deal, because as long as I remember to charge it once a month, once every 3 weeks, a month or so, I'm good to go. So something to keep in mind. They are better sprayers. The quality of them is better, but again, you can get a great result with any sprayer if you take the time to calibrate it properly, and you can get a great result. So it's really your call. If you've got the extra money, to be able to afford a yard mastery sprayer or a typhoon sprayer, then by all means go for it. One big advantage to like the yard mastery is that
they are better sprayers. The quality of them is better. But again, you can get a great result with any sprayer if you take the time to calibrate it properly. And
backpack sprayer
is that it also includes all the spray tips.
So in addition to getting a great sprayer, you also get a set of a typhoon sprayer. You've got a set of T-jet tips, which is really nice as well too, right? So you've got a foliar tip, a soil, a flood jet tip, which is great for your pre-emergent soil-based applications. So it's really nice from that standpoint, in that it comes with everything you need. Literally, you buy it once, and then you're good to go. You never have to really worry about having to, to then go out and hunt for attachments or angle bracket, fittings to be able to do interchangeable tips. It comes with everything you need in the box, and you are good to go. So your call. Either one can work well. More important than the sprayer is that you take time to actually calibrate it, though. So you can get a great result with either one of them. All right, guys. So I'm going to move the show inside. If you guys wouldn't mind hanging with me for just 1 minute, all I'm asking for is a minute while I transition from here to inside, and then I'm going to take Ced's question on aeration and leveling. Should be a good one. And if you guys wouldn't mind hanging on for that, I would really appreciate it. Just to make sure you guys are kept entertained, I will put some tunes on for you. You can listen to some music while we make a change in the show paragraph. We'll be back in about 60 seconds. All right, and we're back. We are back. All right. So let's take now Ced's question about, get this off, about planning to aerate and level and top dress this season. All right. So he was planning on aeration and leveling and top dressing with receding, unsure of the order of operations. Okay, so here's how I would do it, Ced. I would aerate first, kind of the order you're listing it in. I would aerate first, then I would, if you're going to do any kind of fertilizer, any soil amendment products, any granular-based biostimulants, that is the time to do that. And then top dress and then reseed. So literally the way you've listed it is exactly how I would do it. I would aerate, add your fertilizer, anything else you're planning to do, and then do your leveling / top dressing. And then if you're planning to seed, put the seed down and then just take like your leveling rake or some other rake and then rake it in to get that seed to soil contact. And then you are good to go. You should be good to go. Yeah, that's exactly how I would do it, Ced, and you'll get a good result following that approach. We got a super chat. Really do appreciate that, Ced. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate the super chat.
Super chat received.
He says, tree is gone. Previous owner just cut it down and covered it up. Wow. Left the root system intact. The weakest parts of my lawn. Weeds are branch-like. Yeah, without having pictures is tough to say exactly. But yeah, if you want to remove them, then for sure. Like whenever the tree, the tree in the backyard came out as a bulb. The entire thing came out because it was a fairly young tree. But other trees that I've removed You want to make sure that you get the roots as much as you can out as well. And they also grind the stump and get rid of that as well. You want to get as much of that out of the lawn. So yeah, that makes sense based on what you're saying. If you can remove it and then fill in, like backfill that area now that you are going to you're going to lose from a standpoint, as because I mean the roots are taking up space, and now that you've removed them, you're going to need to do some leveling in that area to make it look good. But I mean, yeah, it sounds like you're on your way, sir. It sounds like you're on your way, sir. Oh, he says, why? He says, we get an echo every time you go to pictures. Okay, I will have to look at that, Derek. I'm not sure what's happening there, but I will work on that. I'll have to just do some testing between this week and next week. I'm not sure why that is happening, but I will I'll look into it. So right now, if I go to the store, do you get an echo? If you are getting an echo when I'm talking now, if you're getting an echo, just type echo, or if not, just say no echo. That way I can know whether or not you're good to go. So sorry about that. I will work on figuring out what's going on with that and get it solved. Get it solved. All right, but thank you so much for the super chat. Said I really do appreciate the support. Thank you so much. All right, so our next question is. Shane, nope, not Shane. It's Joey. He says, "LOL, thanks for the feedback, much appreciated." You're very welcome, Joey. No problem at all. You're very welcome, sir. And then next up is Dwayne Hopkins. He says, "Ron, thanks for the feedback a couple of weeks ago back on Celsius. It's been about 2 weeks since I applied, and a lot of weeds, including ryegrass, I wanted to kill, are gone. Patience is the key to Celsius. That's the key to any, especially for the herbicides that tend to be milder against the grass you're trying to keep. They don't necessarily work that quickly. You know what I mean? If you want to get like quick results, you use something like Dismiss or Speed Zone, and you mix those two together, you're going to see results relatively quickly, but you're also going to discolor the lawn in the process. So you take a product like Certainty or like Celsius, both very effective herbicides, both excellent herbicides as far as targeting what you want gone, while minimizing the damage that your grass gets. They're excellent at that, right? So, but the byproduct, or I'd say the negative, if you want to call it a negative, is that you have to be patient. It's not gonna, it's gonna be 7 to 10 days before you start seeing any visible results, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's like Celsius is a great product, and so is, especially Uncertainty against sedges is incredible, but they take a while to work. It takes 7 to 10 days. So I'm glad that you are finally getting the results that you wanted to get, Dwayne. And hopefully you're not going to have to use Celsius too much more in your lawn, right? Because the goal is to eventually be able to move away from having to rely on herbicides. Pretty much the only herbicide that every year I tend to have to work on, or I tend to use, is Certainty, because sedges are something that come back. I tend to deal with in my lawn every year, and an application of Certainty smacks them, puts them down, and then I'm good to go for or at least for that portion of the lawn for a lot of the season. It tends to Certainty is the only one that I tend to have to use more than once, or have to use regularly. All right, next up is Derek Wright. He says, "Ron, do you ever have mole issues with all the watering you do? Also, mowing lower, how much do you water?" So, do I have mole issues? I had a mole problem. I had one mole. I had a mole problem. Keyword a mole that was messing with me. Have you not seen the 2 guys 1 mole video? If not, I gotta get you that, Derek. You'll enjoy that. So yeah, there was a mole that was digging up the lawn. It was digging up the front lawn, and let's just say it caught a stick, and it's not going to be digging up my lawn anymore. So I'll share this with you right here if you want to take a look at that. So at Derek Wright mole video. Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, so I've had in the how many years I've been here? Almost 8 years that I've been here. I've had 1 mole. I've only dealt with 1 mole in my lawn. As far as watering, I have been watering, and I've actually had irrigation turned off for the last, maybe 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, because we've been getting rain. We've been getting rain this morning it rained. Yesterday it rained. The day before that it rained. So there's just hasn't been a need to run irrigation. And when I say rain, I mean like a heavy downpour, like small little puddles forming in the lawn the rain is coming down so heavy. You know what I mean? So with that being the case, there's no need for me to really run irrigation. When I do irrigate, I run it 3 times a week. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And that tends to produce a pretty good result as far as the lawn maintaining its color. So in the middle of summer, so like June, July timeframe, when I have to run irrigation more regularly, that is my cadence. Again, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. As far as the front lawn runs for like 10 minutes for each cycle, and then the back lawn, it steps up. It starts at like 15 and then ramps up a little more as it goes towards the back of the lawn, because the back of the lawn is sloped, so water that goes back there can run towards the front. So I tend to water the back there a bit heavier than the front. But as far as watering times, Derek, I know you asked for that, but it's kind of irrelevant, because unless you have the same water pressure that I do and the same number of spray nozzles, there's a lot of different things that influence how much water goes on the lawn. So just saying, if you ask someone that lives across town that, they say, I run my irrigation for 5 minutes, and that the amount of water they're putting out does not necessarily mean that's going to equal the amount of water that your system is going to put out in the same time frame. It's almost guaranteed it's probably not going to. But my cadence is 3 times a week when I do run it, although I haven't had to here recently. All right. He says, I'm upgrading to Yukon after failing with Ardent 15 due to old Bermuda coming back. I killed Bermuda off 3 times after 3 days watering in between. Do you think that's enough? 3-week total. So let me make sure I understand your question. So you're going with Yukon, you're doing a renovation. You said you killed the Bermuda off 3 times, and after 3 to 4 days of watering in between, do you think that's enough time? 3 weeks total. That should be good. So how did you kill the Bermuda? Like what did you use to do it, Derek? If you can, drop a comment in the chat letting me know what did you use? Because if you did one application, like say, I don't know, today, say glyphosate, and then you did another one 3 weeks from now, I mean, that should do a pretty good job. I would have also liked to mix a little fusillade in there as well too, to try and get rid of the existing grass. But yeah, you can give it a go and see. But without knowing what you use to actually kill it, it's hard to know how effective it's going to be with like a 3-week time frame. I'm guessing it's glyphosate, in which case you're probably going to be okay. But it would have been better to use like another herbicide that targets Bermuda as well, kind of like fusillade along with the glyphosate. But yeah, man, definitely keep me posted on how your renovation goes. It'd be cool to hear how the Yukon grows in once you get around to that point where you're going to be putting it down. The one thing I would say, Derek, is we are getting a bit late in the season. So I'm not sure where in the country you are. If you're in like Florida or somewhere where it stays hot for a longer period of time, then doing your seeding I could kind of see. But if you were my neighbor in Georgia, I would tell you that now is not a great time of year. Actually, now is not a bad time of year. It's a bad time of year to be doing a renovation project with Bermuda from seed. If you're going to sod it, fine. You can sod Bermuda pretty much any time. You can sod Bermuda in the middle of winter. I mean, not the most ideal time, but you can do it and it's going to likely do okay. But if you're going to do it from seed, I'm a fan of doing that earlier in the spring. So like late spring, late April, May time frame. That's the ideal time, because you give it plenty of time for the new grass to root in properly and to get established before it has to deal with the stress of winter weather. So if you're going to be seeding now, hopefully, you're down south or somewhere south of here, because this time of year, it's a bit late in the season to be doing a seeding project with Bermuda. You can always, again, sod way easier. That's probably the way I would go. But if you want to, you're definitely going to do by seed. You might not get the best results by waiting this late in the season to do that. All right, next up is Lavendi. He says, "Hey Ron, is it too late for plant growth regulator in North Florida? St. Augustine grass. Should I keep PGR off weak areas compaction? Thanks." No, not too late for PGR. Like I did my PGR app the beginning of this month. I'm going to do another one maybe this weekend, maybe Sunday, because Sunday will be the 14th. Yeah, so it'll be the middle of the month. So Sunday I'll do my another application, and then at least the beginning of September will be another PGR, another Primo Max application. So I've got at least 2 more in me, maybe 3 more. And you're further south than I am. You're in Florida, so you're gonna have hotter weather, warmer weather for longer than then I will. So yes, I would. If you've been using it, if you've been using growth reg already, and you want to continue to do that, it's not too late in the season at all. I'm just kind of curious what the rate for Primo is on St. Augustine. Let's see here. Let us see. Augustine. Yes, for St. Augustine, yeah, it's lower. So it's not the Bermuda rate. So that's something to keep in mind. The rate for Primo on St. Augustine, I can actually bring that up here really quick. I can show you Lavendi, because I thought it was different to Bermuda, and it is, in fact, it is different. So don't go out and, like my video where I talk about 1/4 ounce per 1,000 square feet, don't do that on St. Augustine. So, yep, here we go. All right. So let's take a look here. I'll take you over here to the store. So St. Augustine is 0.10, 0.10 fluid ounces, 0.15. And then I guess if you have common St. Augustine, then 0.10. So what that means, sir, is that if you have a bottle, that's a Soloprin, this is Primo. If you have a, you have Primo, right, on the label, switch over to this cam, usually to show you. So this is going to be your jam right here, that first notch. 0.1, if you really want to, if you've actually been doing it already and you want to go up a little higher, then 0.15, so between 1 and 2 is where you're going to be at the high end. That's the high rate. So really what I might do is, if it's your first time, start at like just start at this first notch. Like I'd start right there and see how the grass does, how it responds to it. So for St. Augustine, the rate is lower than the rate for Bermuda grass. I just want to check that really quick, because I know I always tell everyone 1/4 ounce, but that's really Bermuda and Zoysia. For St. Augustine, you want to go a bit lower. So, but thankfully, Primo has a measuring cup built into the side of the container, so you're good to go. Good to go on that, right? No, no worries there at all. All right, next up is Reverend Jones. He says, we get year-round growth. Temps are always from 70s to 90s, and during the winter, it just rains more. So technically, I could start tomorrow. You think I could plant seeds, or is sod plugs the only way? So I'm trying to see what you wanted to go with. What are you doing for your renovation? You do zoysia. You can do zoysia from seed, like what you guys see, that grass that's on the patio that we probably couldn't see it during the show because it was out of focus. But if you guys ever watch any of my videos, recent ones anyway, and you see like a planter that's sitting there and it's got grass in it, that is zoysia that was established from seed. It's compadre zoysia. So yes, you can grow zoysia from seed, but I'll tell you, easy mode is just to use sod. And that's true for Bermuda as well too. If you want to grow grass from seed, you can. But it can be a bit less expensive. Save the watering aspect of it. But what you will find is from sod is it's just going to establish a lot faster, because literally you do your prep work, they put the grass in, you water it well, and then you have grass, you got a lawn. So if it were me, I would be more inclined to go the sod route, Reverend Jones. The plugs for zoysia, you can plug zoysia, but it grows so slowly that you're talking about years and years and years, especially if it's you're trying to do a big area. It's not going to be a fast process. So I saw of those three, doing seed, doing plugs, or doing sod by far is my favorite. And then seed would be second, and then plugs would be last. And you say, well, why plugs instead? Why do you like seed better than plugs? Well, because when seed germinates, like everywhere, there's going to be little bitty grass growing up all together. So you should start seeing, in other words, the lawn is going to start filling in relatively uniformly. Whereas if all you do is just plug certain areas, it's going to take, like zoysia does not spread the way like Bermuda spreads. It doesn't spread nearly as fast or as aggressively as Bermuda. So it's your call. For me, I would be leaning more towards the sod route. That's just easier. It's probably a bit more expensive, but you're gonna get your lawn faster, and you're just gonna get to enjoy it more. You're not gonna have to spend a ton of money on water. I'm not sure what watering is like in Hawaii, but the one thing that most people do not take into consideration with a seeding project is how much water you're gonna have to put on the lawn to get the good germination, to keep the grass healthy and surviving. With Hawaii, you wouldn't think that water would be expensive. I mean, you guys are surrounded by water, right? But maybe desalination, maybe having to do that is expensive. All right, we got a super chat here. Let me run down here and grab that from Lavendi. Thank you so much for the super chat, sir. I really do appreciate you.
Super chat received.
He says, thanks for answering my question with detail and accuracy. I do my best, sir. I try to do my best every time. I mean, you guys come out here and spend part of your Friday evening with me. The least I can do is at least give you the best possible answer, right? That's the thing. But yeah, definitely let me know how you get on with the growth regulator on your St. Augustine. Again, start light, go easy, and then ease into it. If you really want to be super conservative, what you could do is you could use, say, the 0.10 rate and do split it in half, right? So do multiple applications in a month. Instead of doing one heavy application, do 2 applications, like one in the beginning of the month, one in the middle of the month. So let's say you have the mythical 4,000 square foot lawn, because it makes the math easy for me. Normally on a 4,000 square foot lawn, if you're going full rate, that would be 0.4, right? So if you're doing once a month, you would do 0.4 over 4,000 square feet, because it's 0.10 per 1,000 square feet. But now if we're going to split it in half, do the split apps, which is what I'd recommend, you're going to cut that in half. So your 4-gallon backpack sprayer with 4 gallons of water in it, and again, it covers the mythical 4,000, the perfect 4,000 square foot lawn. You're going to do 0.20 ounces, so half the normal rate at the beginning of the month, and then half the full rate rather at the middle of the month. So that's going to get you. If you want to really minimize the chance of there being tip burn or any temporary yellowing, that's the route to go. You know what I mean? But the negative is that now you're going to have to be out there twice a month doing it, right? So if you don't like spraying your lawn, you don't like to be out in your lawn, which I kind of doubt that doesn't apply. Really think it applies to you. But in case you don't like to be out the lawn with a backpack sprayer, then that's the only real negative. But especially for your first time, and you don't want to, you want to just minimize the chance of damage, split applications are the way to go. That's definitely the way to go. Guys, we are an hour and 50 minutes into the live stream. If you guys would not mind hitting that like button ever so gently. If you want to hit it hard, that's fine too. But it's a great way for you guys to support the channel. It doesn't cost anything at all. Sends good vibes to the algorithm and gets more people to come out and hang out with all this lawn crazy. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button while I take a sip of my water here right now, I'd really appreciate it. Tonight, it's sparkling water. Found a really good flavor of LaCroix that was good. So I'm being bougie tonight. I'm drinking some LaCroix tonight instead of just flat water. All right, next up is Melvin Ota. He says, "Hey Ron, thanks for your time. Very, very welcome, Melvin. Thank you for coming to hang out, man. I mean, if you guys aren't here, then I'm not here, right? So it's always cool to have you guys here as well." He says, "What do you think about the summer scalp?" I think it's a great idea. I think that if you don't mind the hit to color that your lawn is going to take if you do that, then it's a great idea. So because here's why, Melvin. Here's the why behind why the summer scalp or some method of thinning out the lawn in summer is a good idea. If you are starting to mow your lawn a lot, right? So you're out there mowing it a couple times a week and you're feeding it properly, you're fertilizing it accordingly, doing all of those things, the lawn is going to begin to thicken up. And what you're going to find is that the areas that you were mowing, say in April, May timeframe, that looked absolutely gorgeous, you're out there mowing, no problems at all, life is good, you're dominating the neighborhood, all the neighbors are stopping by asking you for lawn advice, trying to go through your trash, see what kind of products you're using, all this kind of stuff. This amazing lawn, when you get into the mid-July timeframe, you're going to start seeing scalping in areas that you perhaps didn't see before, because the lawn's starting to thicken up so much that the quality of cut that you get starts to get compromised. The mower starts to float on the lawn instead of like the mower wheels actually touching the soil and just giving you that nice even cut that you were getting earlier in the season. So a midsummer scalp or verticutting, even better is to verticut it. Like if you have the means to verticut it, that's a way to thin out the lawn without the unsightliness that comes from scalping. You know what I mean? So if you have the ability to verticut, that's a great option as well too. But if you don't have the ability to do that, then scalping is certainly a good idea. The reason why a lot of people don't like to do that is because literally you're making your lawn look ugly at the time of year when you want it to look its best, right? So, and the thing is with a scalp is you're really looking at 10 to 14 days, depending on how aggressively you go, for it to really look nice again. And if that's fine, if you're fine with that, then yeah, I'm absolutely a fan of doing it. In my case, this year, instead of doing a summer scalp, I've been turf raking the lawn and verticutting it regularly, and that has been my way of thinning out the lawn so that I still get a good cut throughout the season. So it's a great question. It's a great question, but yeah, I am a fan of doing that. Absolutely should do it if you don't mind the temporary hit to color that you're going to take for doing that. All right, next up is JBL 4345 says, "Hello Ron, I have a bunch of bitter chamber popping up all over my St. Augustine. What would you recommend to vanquish this demon? I need an exorcism from my lawn. You know what? I'm not sure what's for bitter chamber. Will Celsius do that? Let's find out. I don't know. Let's check. Let's check here and see if it's on the label really quick for Celsius. That is what I'm leaning towards. I want to make sure that that you're going to get a good result with it. Bitter chamber. I don't see that. I'm trying to see. Yeah. Chamber bitter. You said bitter chamber, but chamber bitter. It's on the label, and that's not one of the ones that's one of the ones that you can go with at the at a higher rate as well. If I can show you here really quick, I can switch over. All right, take a look at this JBL. So this is the label for Celsius. So you can see this is your lighter application rate, and then we move on to your heavier rate, so 0.85 ounces or 2.4 grams per 1,000 square feet. And that is the realm where your chamber bitter lives. So as long as you're able to apply it at that heavier rate, that slightly heavier rate, again, use a little bit of surfactant with it, it should do a good job knocking it out. The one thing to keep in mind though with Celsius, like I was saying earlier, is that it's not an instant gratification type herbicide. Like when you spray it, you're going to spray it, and literally you can look at your lawn the day after, or 2 days after, or 3 days after, and you can be like, nothing's happening, it's not working. Wait a good 10 to 14 days, and you should see a really good result. So I would say use Celsius along with a surfactant, and that should knock it out. It may take more than one application depending on how bad it is, but again, it should take care of it. Should take care of it, sir. Let me know if I can help with anything else. Great question. All right, we got a super chat here, one from Mr. Ben Raham. Thank you so much for that, Ben.
Super chat received.
He says, split treatment PGR sprayed with 901C and Carbon Kit is a game changer. My renovation with a marginal quality Maya looks amazing in the parts that have matured so far. Rate for common Bermuda use what you use. Okay, so that's a good point, Ben. Thanks for letting me know. So when it comes to growth regulator, when it comes to Primo, there are two rates. There's more than two rates. There's actually three rates, but there's a rate for hybrid, which ranges between 0.25 fluid ounces to 0.38 fluid ounces, and then there's the rate for common Bermuda, which is 0.75 fluid ounces, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's correct. So it sounds like he's going with the heavier rate on his Maya, and he's getting a good result with it. So that's good. That's good, Ben. I'm glad that the split app is producing a good result for you. Just keep doing it, man. If the grass is liking it, keep doing what you're doing. No reason to change it up. So awesome stuff. Glad to hear that you're getting good results with Primo on your lawn. All right, Ismail Rivera is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I live in Indiana, and I have a zoysia lawn. I reseeded with perennial ryegrass, not knowing and how to deal with the brown patches and weeds. What should I use instead, and how do I handle going forward? Well, I'm trying to understand which grass do you want to keep, Ismail? Because zoysia, I guess it's doing all right in Indiana. For me, that seems a bit north for zoysia. But if it's growing fine, you like it, and you want to keep it. In other words, you've been having it for multiple seasons, then fine. But I would not try and mix zoysia and perennial ryegrass like over, not to have both of them at the same time. Like I know with Bermuda, that does not look good. It really doesn't look good. So I can't imagine that it would look good with zoysia. So I would say pick the grass you want to keep. If it's perennial ryegrass, then get rid of the zoysia. If it is, if you want to keep the zoysia, then I don't know that I would really be. Then if you want to do an overseed in the winter and then get rid of it in the spring, kind of like what we do here in the South, like that could be a strategy. But trying to grow both of them at the same time throughout the entire year, I'm not a fan of doing that for a couple of reasons. For one, if you ever have to spray herbicides on your lawn, it's now become a nightmare. Like outside of Blindside and a few other very select ones, there's not many herbicides that you can spray on both warm season grass and cool season grass that gives you good coverage, good control, and that's not going to injure one of the two. So trying to live with a cool season grass and a warm season grass at the same time just really overcomplicates things. So, and then also when it comes to growth regulator, let's say you're gonna spray Primo, which rate are you gonna use? Because the zoysia rate is 0.25 ounces per 1,000 thereabouts, and then perennial ryegrass rate is a bit higher. I think it's 0.6, or it's higher than what it is for warm season grass. So which rate do you use? You know what I mean? So I would pick one or the other, and unless I'm reading this wrong, to where you're only using you're only doing the zoysia is the grass you really want to have, and you're only using the perennial ryegrass as a winter overseed. If that's the case, then you can continue doing that. That's been working well for you. But if it's not, I would not try and fix bare patches in your zoysia with perennial ryegrass. Does that make sense? So hope that helps. Again, I'm not exactly sure what you were going with the question, but if that's what you're asking, I would pick one grass, make it the dominant grass, and stick with that. When it comes to weeds, again, like I was saying, like that's a challenge, right? So if you have weeds in your lawn, you have to like the herbicides that are safe for perennial ryegrass and that are very effective against a lot of weeds. So like say tenacity, right? So like tenacity that does well on cool season grass. Not you can make your zoysia very unhappy. You know what I mean? And then for your zoysia, a herbicide that works very well for zoysia, like Celsius, is not gonna your perennial ryegrass is gonna suffer if you spray it with that. So pick one of the two, and then based on that, which is based on the grass you're gonna stick with, then you'll know what herbicide to select to be able to control the weeds that are in your lawn. So hope that helps. I'm a little bit confused with the question, but I think that's what you were asking me. If not, just drop a follow-up down in the chat, and I'll come back to it. Appreciate the question, sir. He says, Derek says, we get an echo every time you go to pictures. Okay, I will work on that. I'm going to see why that's happening. I'm not sure why that's happening, Derek, but I will work that out between this week and next week. I'll get it fixed. I'll do like a test stream and figure out what's broken, what the problem is. Sorry about that. Okay, next up is Omar Garcia. Omar wants to know. He says, Ismail, where are you located? I'm in Indiana as well. I've been thinking about putting zoysia in. So yeah, you guys can probably team up and answer that, because it seems I would think that Indiana would be a bit too cool for zoysia, but maybe not. Maybe not. And then Derek is right. Right now, huge echo delay. Seeing a huge echo delay. Okay, I'm not sure if that's still the case now. You're still getting a delay in as far as an echo goes, guys. I will not sure what's causing that, but I can work on it. So if you're still getting an echo, like whenever I'm talking now, let me know. It's not something I can do right now to help that, but I'll do my best to try and figure out what's up with it and fix it for next week. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Next up is Diggy Y70. I'm sure what he says here. Digi17, I think. He says, what to do when weeds keep returning? No matter how many times I pull and spray, it seems like they come back with full force. Any ideas? Thank you in advance. So, okay. So the best way to keep weeds out of your lawn, Digi, is with pre-emergent. Like that should be like the way I like to do it anyway, is to use pre-emergent in your lawn. Like that should make the foundation of keeping weeds out of your lawn for the most part. And then you can use post-emergence to clean up like your sedges and other weeds that may pop up here and there throughout the lawn as the season progresses. But if you're not using pre-emergent in your lawn, what you are experiencing is what's going to be happening. You're going to be playing a game of whack-a-mole. Literally, you're going to spray weeds here, and then you're going to come back, and they'll die off for a while. Especially if you're not, depending on what you're using to try and spray them, it's not unlikely that they'll resurface and come back. So the best way to keep like weeds like spurge, like crabgrass, out of your lawn is with pre-emergent. So that's something to consider. I'm not sure if you're doing that. And now, as far as pre-emergent goes, like as we're getting into the time of year now to talk about that, is if you are, the easy ones are like Prediamine and dithiopyr. Those are both available in granular forms. They're easy to apply. That's easy mode. So I can show you what I am talking about here as far as pre-emergent. Let me show you here really quick. Let me show you. So we'll switch over here. We'll go back to Weed Killer for Lawns. And then as far as your granulars go, you've got, that's on page 2, you got Prediamine and you got dithiopyr. Both these are excellent pre-emergents. They're both in granular form, so they're going to be pretty easy to be able to use. The benefits, so how do you choose between the two of them? Dithiopyr is a few dollars more expensive than Prediamine. The benefit of dithiopyr is that if you have crabgrass, right? Say you're dealing with crabgrass in your lawn. Dithiopyr, unlike Prediamine, has the ability to kill young crabgrass. So crabgrass that is just germinated, You can, if you use dithiopyr as your pre-emergent, it has the ability to damage and or kill young crabgrass. Both of them will work well for your poanua, for a lot of your broadleaves. They both will do a reasonably good job for that. But using one of these in the spring and fall is a good basis for your program to keep weeds away. Now here's the thing, especially when it comes to dealing with POA. While Prediamine and dithiopyr are decent, like using just them by themselves is usually not enough to keep your lawn completely free of POA between like October timeframe all the way till like Marchish timeframe. So that's where like mixing in a post-emergent herbicide along with like say Prediamine makes a lot of sense. But to do that, you got to get into liquids. That is where like using a good combination is using something like Prediamine. Like if we go back here, I'll show you real quick. I don't have the other two on the store, but I'll talk you through it. You can go through like Prediamine, which you can get here in a water dispersible granule. So this is like the liquid version of it. And then you would mix this with imazaquin, which is image that you can get that at like your Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And then simazine, which is a product called Princep, which is the brand name Princep that Syngenta makes. So Princep and then image along with Prediamine is a great combination for keeping, for one, getting the pre-emergent to give you good 3 to 4 months worth of weed suppression, but also if there's any weeds in the lawn now, it will also knock those out. So using a pre and post-emergent combination is a really good way to go. That's a good combination for warm season grass. If you have cool season grass, then what you can do is use Prediamine again, use the same water dispersible granule, the same one, and you can mix with Prediamine. You can go with Tenacity. Now, Tenacity does have some pre-emergent qualities in it, but really we're using it more for the post-emergent. So you would use Tenacity without surfactant, mix it along with your Prediamine, and it will behave similarly to the way simazine and imazaquin. It's going to serve a similar role as those two in your cool season lawn. So that's another level of complexity, but you're going to get a better result as far as controlling weeds if you go that way. So for warm season grass, Prediamine, simazine, and imazaquin, that's good for your warm season grass. There used to be a product called Coastal that basically was mixed that way. That's pretty much what that was, but they don't really sell it in a size that's any good anymore. That's reasonable anymore. So you can recreate that yourself. And again, for cool season grass, Prediamine and Tenacity can work well. Now, if you don't want to do all of that, so it's too much work, you don't want to do any of that, then, and you have the budget for it, one of the best pre-emergents that you can use on warm season grass is a product called Spectacle Flow. It's this guy here. Actually, I'm switch to this camera so I can actually show you. Like this is about as good as it gets for pre-emergent in warm season grass. It's an excellent pre-emergent. Like you'll apply this, and the label says up to 10 months of coverage, but pretty much if you apply this next month, late September, you're not going to have POA in your lawn. You're going to be good. You're going to be pretty much weed free until it's time for you to do your spring pre-emergent application. So it's your call. I mean, obviously, as you spend more money on herbicides and you pick more complex ways of mixing them and applying them, then you get a better result, but there's more hassle factor. But the basic way, if you just want to go really easy, that'll be better than where you are now, is just pick up a bag of either one of these. Prediamine's a little bit cheaper, so you can go with that one. And apply that in either the spring and or fall, and that's going to do a lot for keeping weeds out of your lawn. And then when you spray your post-emergence, it's going to be a lot less than what you're dealing with now. Because right now you're just playing a game of whack-a-mole. So pre-emergent is something you need to start doing that if you haven't been. It sounds like that you're not. So that's why I went off and spoke to that point a bit more than I normally would. So hope that helps. If you have any other questions, definitely let me know. Next up is Dwayne Hopkins. He says, hey, on the topic of pre-emergent, he says, I'm debating on using Yard Mastery dithiopyr instead of my normal Prediamine, trying to avoid using too much Prediamine this year. Good plan? Yeah. There's no reason not to switch it up. Again, the price difference between the two of them is really not that much. It's really not. It's not like Prediamine and Spectacle Flow. It's literally $5 to $10 difference in pricing. And if you want to switch them, sure, absolutely. I think it's a great plan. I think this spring is dithiopyr is what I used, I believe. I have to go back and look at my journal, but I'm pretty sure that's what I used this spring was dithiopyr. And last fall was essentially Prediamine because I used Coastal. So yeah, that's a good plan, Dwayne. And we got a couple of super chats. Let me see. Get down here and grab these real quick. One from Robert Mohoros. Thank you so much for that, Robert. Really do appreciate it.
Super chat received.
He says, so found the downside of the big deer, 1,500 pounds. Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's heavy. With all the rain, the soil is saturated, and I haven't mowed but twice in 3 weeks. The Xeon zoysia is long. How do I get it under control and go back to 0.75? Thanks. So the way I would do it, especially if you don't want your lawn to look ugly, is just slowly step it back down, Robert. Like just slowly work your way back down. You can, how tall is it? You said it hasn't only been mowed twice in 3 weeks. So it's probably, this is sitting now, an inch and a quarter, maybe a little bit taller. This late in the season, you probably don't want to take a hit to color. And if you're patient, just work your way down. If it's not that big of a deal to change the height of cut on your big John Deere, and you can just slowly work it down over the course of a week or two, that's going to allow you to maintain most of the color and get yourself back down to 0.75. So it's really your call. Either way can work. You can do a scalp. You can take it right back down right away, but it's gonna look a bit ugly if you take that approach versus just stepping it down each time you mow over 2 to 3 weeks, and then you'll be back right where you were. All right. Next up, our next super chat says echo only outside when viewing screen laptop mic. Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on then. I think I know what's going on. It's the I think I know what's up. I'll do some testing, but I think I know what the problem is. Thanks for letting me know, Ben. I'm glad there's no echo in here because that would be a problem. That'd be a tough one. All right, and Digi saying I use Spectricide. Yeah, so Spectricide is, are you using the liquid or granular? Because there's two different products. At either rate, if you're using the liquid, the stuff that goes in the hose end sprayer, that is strictly a post-emergent Digi X17. And again, you're pretty much going to be playing a game of whack-a-mole. The best way, the most efficient way to keep weeds out of your lawn is to use pre-emergent. To use pre-emergent in the spring and then in the fall, and then mow your lawn a lot. Like, believe it or not, like growing a thick and healthy stand of grass is a great way to keep weeds out, right? Because your grass is gonna outcompete them for resources. It's gonna be harder for them to germinate because they're gonna be crowding out. The first to be able to get sunlight to be able to germinate and really take off. Like all of that, along with regular mowing regular mowing along with pre-emergent really helps facilitate that. So your need for post-emergent herbicides, save for like something like Certainty to take care of sedges, should really go down over time if you are using pre-emergent and you're also doing the cultural practices, like you're mowing regularly like you should be. You know what I'm saying? So hope that helps. You didn't tell me which Spectricide, because there is the granular. There's the granular Spectricide, which has some dithiopyr in it. I can actually show you here really quick. Do I have that up? Yeah. So if you're using this is strictly post-emergent. This is strictly to kill weeds that are actively growing. It's not going to do a whole lot to prevent weeds. If you are using this one, then this one can kill some weeds too. Not as much as the orange bottle, but it also contains this product, which you guys, if you just were watching, it contains dithiopyr, which is your pre-emergent. So that one that can help some with keeping weeds away, but I would go with go with like just a dedicated pre-emergent product like the dithiopyr that we sell on the Golf Course Lawn Star. Would go with that. And then if you want to keep using the orange bottle for your post-emergent herbicide, that can be fine too. But start getting actual pre-emergent into your program, and I think you're gonna like the results that you get from doing that. Appreciate the super chat, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. Checking here to see if I got any more before I go back up. Doesn't look like I do. So we are back to who was up next. Let's see who did I miss. All right. Next up is I'm going to try Jamari Gauss. Says, I installed Chiselhome zoysia. I've never heard of Chiselhome. So look it up. Chiselhome zoysia in April of this year in South Carolina. Should I put pre-emergent down? So you did it in April, May, June. Yeah, I would. Yes, I would. Because again, zoysia, Bermuda, those, especially if you're applying them, you're not going on at like the max rate. Those tolerate pre-emergent just fine. You shouldn't have a problem at all with that Jamari. If you want to be super, super conservative and wait till the spring to do pre-emergent, you can, but you're going to be dealing with POA and a bunch of other weeds in your lawn this year. So it's really your call. If it were me, yes, I would do a pre-emergent app this fall, especially given that assuming the lawn is established and it's doing well, there should be no issue with that. It's really a cool season grasses. You really want to give it a good year before you start introducing pre-emergent or anything like that too, because that's it's not as hardy as Bermuda and zoysia tends to be. So it's your call. I would, but if you want to wait until the spring, you can do that too. But just realize what you are doing. If you decide to go that route, you are going to have POA and a bunch of other weeds in your lawn throughout the winter months and into the early spring, which isn't a big deal. It just means you're going to have to use something like Celsius, use some kind of a post-emergent herbicide. Like actually, you probably use Celsius and Certainty, because as for POA, you really want to use Certainty. You have to use something like that to take care of them. But I mean, it's a strategy. Either way can work. You can do pre-emergent, or you can say, nope, I want to be super, super conservative and wait till the spring, and then use post-emergent herbicides to get rid of the weeds that will start growing in your lawn over the winter months. So either way can work well. If it were me, I would be putting down pre-emergent this fall. So hope that helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. Next up is Jeff Ho. Jeff says, hey, I'm in upstate South Carolina. Is it too late to do a Bermuda height of cut reset? Thanks, and keep up the great content. It's not too late. I mean, how much of a height of cut are we talking here, Jeff? If you're gonna take a little bit off to try and thin it out, that's fine. I would have done it last month. I would have done it, 3-4 weeks ago. But if you being in upstate South Carolina, I don't know, man. The lawn's going to be checking out soon. Just realize it's going to take longer for it to recover from a major scalp than it would had you done it again like mid-July. So it's really your call. There's still enough time for it to recover from it, but just realize it's going to be a bit slower than had you done it a month ago. So it's not too late. But again, I would have done it, mid-July. And the only advice I could give you, Jeff, is don't go too aggressive. So if you're at, say, I don't know what kind of mower you have. Let's say you're mowing at an 1.5 inches, right? I might do a reset to 1.25 inches, maybe just over an inch, but I wouldn't go down to like 3/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch. Like that would be a bit much this time of year. I would do like a mild height of cut reset, because that's going to give the grass an opportunity to recover and you to be able to enjoy your lawn into some of August and into September, right before it begins to check out. So that's the only thing I would say. Go light on it. But you absolutely can if you want to. All right, next up is Ismail Rivera. Let's see, Ismail Rivera. Yeah, that's muted. But Ismail Rivera is up next. He says, "Hey Omar, I'm in Southwest Indiana and Northwest Indiana. I inherited this lawn, so I'm not sure which type, but it is gorgeous and like a carpet. But it does indeed go dormant in October till about April. Very cool." Very cool. So that's cool, man. I wouldn't have thought you would have grown zoysia that far up north, but apparently you can. Thank you so much for the super chat, Digi X17. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it.
Super chat received.
He says, I was not expecting all that information. Thank you. Well, I want to give you as good an answer. I mean, I could just say no, or just say just give you a very short answer. But then the why is kind of important too, right? So I'm glad. Hopefully that was useful and helps you understand why controlling weeds it's like a multi-step program, especially with us here being in the United States. Like overseas, like you go over to Europe, they don't even have access to the herbicides that we do, right? So we can get Prediamine, we can get dithiopyr, we can actually apply it ourselves as homeowners, where a lot of countries you can't do that. So there's really no reason no excuse to not have a weed-free lawn, as long as you know what to do. And if you want some more help, I didn't show you this DigiX. But if you go back here, we'll go to the store. If you look at the blog, go to the blog and then go to this one here, the guide for getting a golf course lawn. If you scroll down to the very bottom, there's a calendar that talks about, so you're saying, doing your pre-emergent in the spring. And then I have like a month by month, this is like a light calendar. This isn't going to actual rates like I do in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, but every month gives you an idea of what you can be doing in the lawn to have a great looking lawn. And when you get to September, you can see your fall pre-emergent. So pre-emergent in the fall, and then in Marchish timeframe, pre-emergent in the spring. But then if you follow this, you're going to get a pretty good result, along with consistent mowing. The one thing you notice in every single month is consistent mowing,
consistent mowing, because that's part of the program too. That's part of the process. That doesn't come in a bottle, but it's just as important or even more important than everything else you find on this page. So if you are interested, I'll actually put it in the chat for you so that way you don't have to go find it. I'll just say here at Digi X17, there's that blog post I was telling you about. So the bottom of that will have like that light calendar that will help you out. Thanks again for the super chat. I really do appreciate the support. Really do. Okay, let's see. Who did I miss out on? I'm trying to find out where I left off. All right, let's see here. So Spokane guy says, tell us about your day job and how it relates to lawn care. I am a staff SWE myself, and I find lawn care to be a great outlet after work. So my day job has nothing to do with lawn cares. I'm a tech guy. I work in the information security field. So my day job is to prevent bad people from breaking into networks and doing bad things. That's what I do. I lead a team whose job is to do that. So yeah, I work in the information security space. Much like you, I just got into lawn care. Wow, at this point, or get into it seriously 8-9 years ago, something like that. I mean, and just really got, it started as an outlet as it was just relaxing, and I got more and more into it. Started doing YouTube content, and it's grown into what it is now, right? So yeah, but my day job is actually a tech guy. I'm working in information security space. All right, ain't no secrets and lawn how to. He says, working on some pre-fall weed control in bluegrass, Bermuda, centipede mix. So you have bluegrass, Bermuda, and centipede. That sounds like fun. Apply blindside, and it was not easy on the bluegrass this time of year. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing you got to realize. Even though, let me see what your next comment here. It says, positive note, the 20 kW solar system installed this week, just waiting for inspection and meter to get it powered up. Okay, kind of random, but all right. But that's the thing. So this is a good point. So even though it's a product like Blindside, I know that it is one of the few, there's other ones, but it's one of the few herbicides that's rated for use on both cool season and warm season grass. Even though it is labeled as air quotes safe for multiple different types of grass, you got to realize anytime you apply herbicides to your lawn, you are introducing a stressor. You know what I mean? It's you really want to minimize using herbicides in your lawn as much as possible. And in this case, you think about like KBG. This time of year, the lawn's already under stress because of all the heat. Especially this year, we've been having a heat wave with not much rain and lots of not much rain and higher temperatures. Now at that time, you couple that with now a herbicide application. I'm not surprised that the Bermuda and centipedes tolerated it fairly well, but the bluegrass did not. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to herbicides. There's always a trade-off, right? So that's why like pre-emergent and a lot of mowing is a better way to maintain a nice lawn, which minimizes your need for having to use post-emergent herbicides. Okay, next is Wilbur Wynn saying, "Sup, dude? Sup, Wilbur? How's it going? Hope you're doing all right, sir. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream." And then Ismail Rivera says, "My neighbors confirm they did the plugging themselves, and it took 2 years to overtake the lawn. It's golf course grass for sure, and the thatch buildup is intense. No other lawn goes brown except for mine." Yeah, so that's the thing with zoysia, is that it does get really thick. Once it does fill in, like the Real Rollers Turf Park, they've got El Toro, and what was the other one? They got I think Xeon and El Toro. And if you go there, if you go and walk on that grass, it is like it's super thick. Like you if you try and find the soil, like you stick your fingers in there and you have to really push and spread hard to be able to find to get to actually see the soil with zoysia. So it grows really thick. The negative to that is that if you get a ton of rain, ton of water, you can have some root rot issues, some lawn disease issues with it. But yeah, I will agree with you that it can look really nice. It can look like a golf course when it's mowed short. Much like Bermuda, much like a lot of grasses that tolerate being mowed short. So cool stuff. All right, Spokane guy says, planting some perennial ryegrass next month. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Sounds like a good time to do it. So a good time to do it. All right, next up is Thomas Hanan. He says, Celsius and Certainty is an excellent combination. What other similar combination is there to rotate herbicides to avoid resistance? I mean, It depends. I mean, there's tons of other herbicides you can use. You can use Dismiss, you can use 2,4-D, you can use, there's Speed Zone that is for warm season grass. But the thing that Celsius and Certainty have, Thomas, is that the temperature range that you can spray them under, where they are less likely to do injury to the grass. Like those two are very, very, they're almost unique in that aspect. There's a lot of other herbicides that you can spray, but you're going to be giving that up. You have to be really more careful about the time of year when you spray it and how hot it is when you spray it. So something to keep in mind. So there's not really anything that I can think of that really replicates the results that you can get as far as a temperature range with Certainty and Celsius on warm season grass. As far as avoiding resistance, again, if you're using a good pre-emergent program, so you're using pre-emergent in the fall and then again in the spring, your need for having to rely on post-emergent herbicides really shouldn't be that much. You may have to get out, Celsius to go out and spray some spurge here and there. If you have some young crabgrass that you want to try and get rid of, you can use it for that. And then Certainty for sedges. But outside of like tackling like the edge case, we have a little bit of spurge and the sedges that may grow in your lawn where like water tends to settle, those types of areas, you really shouldn't need to be blasting your lawn with post-emergent herbicides all the time. If you're using pre-emergent and you're mowing regularly, you shouldn't be using enough to where like disease resistance really becomes a thing. You know what I mean? So hope that helps. To my knowledge, as far as I gave you some other options for warm season grass, Dismiss, 2,4-D, Speed Zone. Those are other options as well. But there's temperature restrictions with those, and even when you spray them, even in the like low 80s, they are going to discolor the grass more so than Celsius and or Certainty would. So that's why they're such a good combination, because they do what a lot of other herbicides won't do, as far as keep your grass green even after you spray it. All right, next is Kevin. I think it's Kevin Jury, but I will just say K Jury. He says, it's up here. When do you apply your final fertilization of N in the fall? Typically, if not mid-September, the last one will normally be the beginning part of October. I said, I'm thinking of putting down a 0048 potash heavy in the fall as I'm low on K. What is a good heavy rate per 1,000 square feet to apply? I have to look at the label. We do carry a 0048 product, Kevin, but I'm not sure application rate off the top of my head is on that one. I would just check the label and apply it accordingly. I'm not sure if this one is 3 pounds per 1,000. No, 2 pounds. So yeah, so there you go. So 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet is what you're gonna go with on that one. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to lawn fertilizer. So go here, and then on the first page you're gonna find the 0048. 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet is the rate that you're going to want to apply that at if you decide you want to use that in the fall. So, as always, the label is law, right? Label is what it'll tell you. So hopefully that helps. And as far as me, I tend to taper off. If I do a fertilizer app, a granular app in October, it's lighter. It's much lighter. It's not the full rate that I go with. In like last year, I didn't even do a granular in October if memory serves me. I just did strictly liquids. So. That's when I tend to do my last one. But every lawn is different. Depends on where you are. If you're in Florida, you're gonna be fertilizing into like November possibly, right? Because it stays hotter there longer. The grass is gonna be growing longer. But if you're Northeast Georgia, late September, early October is when you can begin really pulling back on how much nitrogen you are putting into the lawn. All right, next up is Tom Hoffenkamp. He says, "Happy Friday." Just donkey, not monkeypox, but donkeypox. It's good. It's Happy Friday. Watching paint dry is only beat by watching grass die for being agonizingly boring and slow. Praying to the glyphosate gods, I am in SoCal, still got till December until the first frost. Yeah, but I mean, just be patient, I'm not sure what kind of grass you're trying to kill, Tom. You didn't tell me. But yeah, it'll work. You may take a couple of rounds. You may have to do another follow-up, but it'll happen. Like when I sprayed glyphosate on some Bermuda that's in my beds, glyphosate and Fusilade, it didn't do anything for the first few days. And then really started, day 4 is when you started seeing it discolor.
a bit, and now today it's really ramping up. Like it's almost like a log curve. It's logarithmic how quickly it goes from green, nothing, it starts to brown, and then rip, and then it really begins to start hating life. So just be patient. I mean, I'm not sure how, when you applied it. You didn't say when you did your application, but just give it time. It will work. Glyphosate definitely works. Just give it time. All right, Lavendi says, thanks for looking up the rate. You the best. You're very, very welcome, sir. I don't want you to get a bad result. I mean, last thing I want to tell you is, hey, yeah, go apply Primo, and then you look at my video, because the video that's in the description for this on the store, which we do carry Primo Max on the Golf Course Lawn Store, I'm citing the rate for warm season grass, and I'm often referring to Bermuda and Zoysia, right? For cool season grass, I say read the label. And really, I should have said for St. Augustine, also read the label, because the rate for St. Augustine is quite a bit lower than the rate for Bermuda and Zoysia. I didn't want you to ding your lawn, so hence why I looked it up really quick to tell you. I didn't want you to have a bad result. He says it's only been 1 day. Should I be more patient? Just kidding. Yeah, come on, man. Now that I see it's only been 1 day, come on, son. You get only 1 day? No. At day 4, day 3 to 4. You should start seeing the grass, wherever you spray, is going to start losing its color. For Bermuda, anyway, that tends to happen. Like if I compared, so in my case, the Bermuda is in the beds, and there's like a 6-inch paver, and there's the grass, a lawn next to it. At day 3, if I looked at the difference between the grass that's in the mulch beds and the grass that's on the lawn, by then I could start seeing the grass that's in the mulch beds begin to lose its color a little bit. And then now it's really beginning to fall off. It's really accelerating how quickly it's beginning to die off. So just be patient. 1 day is not enough. A lot of people get used to the results they get whenever they use something like Diaquat. Like they mix a lot of non-selective weed killers or weed and or grass killers will have glyphosate, and they'll have another active ingredient another herbicide called Diaquat in it. And the thing about that is that it produces results really quickly, right? Like you literally look at it, you'll spray it, and then the next day you'll start seeing that the grass is browning up and looking really, really bad. But the problem with that is it works too quickly. You know what I mean? So you're not giving the grass enough time to really absorb the herbicide and really have it take it in to truly kill it. So I'm not so much a fan of that as I am using something like glyphosate and Fusilade to kill Bermuda versus glyphosate and something like Diaquat. So it will work, sir. Stick with it. Be patient. It will get better. I promise. All right. Jim Carson's up here saying, hello, everyone from California. What's going on, Jim? Thanks for checking in from Cali. Appreciate you coming to hang out, sir. And then you are saying, question, how many days does Bermuda take to root from sod? That's a good question. It depends on how good of a job you do prepping. I would imagine within a month it should be tacked down pretty nicely. Really within a few weeks it should be doing fairly well. But within 4 weeks from the time you did it to from the time that the sod is put down to the time it's 4 weeks later, you should be finding that the root system is starting to bite into the soil. Now, things you can do to improve that are, one, get rid of any existing lawn that you have. That's thing one. And then if you can use something like carbonized PN, any of the granular biostimulants, they are going to help with rooting. The lawn's going to root faster if you use something like this, Jim. So let me show you. If we go here to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop, and Miramichi Green biostimulants. Either one of these, like carbonized PN, this one, that's what it was actually developed for. So for nicer lawns where people that are rich folk people are building a nice home, they want a nice lawn, they want to establish quickly, they'll use carbonized PN. That's a great product to use after your initial grade, so after the surface of the lawn is prepped, but before you put the sod down, you put like a nice layer of carbonized PN down. That's going to really help the lawn root in faster. Alternatively, you could also go with Essential G. That will work as well. Either one of them will work well. But carbonized PN is that's where it really shines, is for helping a plant to get established. So whether it's being a tree or grass, or if you're trying to grow like grass in a planter, like the grass you guys see on my table outside, like literally that's all carbonized PN, which is it's half biochar and half compost. So it's your call. Either one of these will help it root in faster. But even if without that, assuming you did a decent job prepping, I'd imagine within 4 weeks you should see the lawn starting to establish. But a lot of it comes down to how good a job you do prepping it, and also make sure you keep enough water on it. That's important too. But by that time, if you do that within a month, you should be in pretty good shape. You should be looking really good. Tom Hoffenkamp, Seeding Bermuda. Here we go. He says, Seeding Bermuda, I tested blackjack on the backyard, and my dog damaged a trouble spot, and it looks great. Going full front yard now, and the full backyard next spring. Cool. So you tested a spot. That's a good idea. So you tested a few areas. You have a dog, so he says, hey, whenever your dog does his business on the grass, how doth it recover? And you found out that Bermuda takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Most grass does, but Bermuda especially. You just can't, unless you wage chemical warfare, like multiple rounds of chemical warfare against Bermuda, it's really hard to get rid of. So I'm not surprised that the blackjack did well. I'm sure. I mean, dog urine is basically a really heavy, like fertilizer burns, like a really heavy nitrogen nap, right? So I'm not surprised that it recovered nicely from that. So take pictures. The only advice I'd tell you is that when in this whole project, whenever you do the entire back lawn, take pictures of before and after. When you do the front lawn, same thing. Take pictures of before and after, because you're not going to get a chance to see, the results or the progress if you don't do it now. All right. Jim says, sorry, California summer until Halloween. Okay. All right. Next up is everyone is saying no echo now. Good. Thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. So I got to work that out. I'll figure that out between this week and next week. Why that is happening. It's interesting. I have an idea why though. I think it's the microphone that's on the laptop. I think that's what's doing it. All right. Nicholas Dorsey is saying, leaving the stream and coming back, fix it for me. I have not had an echo since around 8 p.m. Yeah, so what happened is it's not leaving the stream, I think did it, is when I came inside. Because when I was outside, streaming outside, there's 3 cameras. So there's the one you're watching now, there's this one, and there's a different one that's on a tripod that I wirelessly streamed to in here. And the settings of how I have that set up, the more I think about it, because each camera has its own audio settings, and that is what is causing the issue. I think I know what the problem is. So I'm going to do some testing this week, and I will get it fixed between this week and next week so it doesn't happen again, because I'm sure that's annoying. So I apologize for that. You guys know, man, this is trying to raise production value, but there's always some bumps along the way as you try new things. It happens. Okay, TK is up. He says, should I go heavier than the suggested rate when overseeding with perennial rye? The bag says 2 pounds per thousand, but that seems very light. I do know guys so there are, I have a friend around here that they seed baseball fields around in this area with perennial rye. They overseed it and they go heavier. I know what you're saying. The bag rate says 2 pounds per thousand. He says he goes as heavy as like 8 pounds. They go really heavy. So here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you to go heavier than bag rate, because I've never personally seeded a lawn with ryegrass lawn before to know what would happen. But I can tell you that there, as far as a strategy for overseeding Bermuda, some sports fields around here do go heavier than 2 pounds per thousand with ryegrass. And they do, and he sent me, I don't have pictures of it, but he sent me, I don't have pictures here. He sent me pictures on my phone. They've done that and they get a really nice result doing that. So I don't know. What you might do is just look around, like check and see, ask other people in your area, maybe landscapers in your area, what rate they've gone with and gotten good results. Maybe ask someone else just local to you what rate they can get away with, or call the manufacturer, call whoever made the seed that you have and say, hey, listen, I know bag rate says 2 pounds per thousand. How much heavier can I go and not have adverse results? That would be outside of asking someone that has direct experience with it and has seeded it heavier. As far as that goes, call the manufacturer. On the bag, on the label, on the bag, there's going to be a number. Call them and ask them. And I can tell you that around here, I know someone personally that goes much heavier than that when they're overseeding Bermuda. Again, 8 pounds, and they get a great result. The field looks awesome, but I mean that's. I'm not sure if the ryegrass, the rye seed that he's using is the same stuff that you're going to be using. So call the manufacturer for the particular seed you have and ask them. All right, next up is Nicholas Dorsey. He says, so I contacted the county extension for a light green spot, and they think it may be 2 different types of Bermuda growing in the sod. Possible. They're going to take some samples. I give them to the UGA turf lab. Cool. Yeah, I mean that's a good way to find out. And let us know. Report back and let us know if it's 2 different types of Bermuda grass. That very well could be it too. That's cool that you could take it to them. They're gonna test it out for you. Good stuff. Sounds like a good plan, sir. He says they want to grow out the samples to see if there's 2 different cultivars. If that's the case, I'm not sure if there's anything I can do. If there's anything I can do other than cutting the really bad areas out and reseeding the lawn. Other than cutting out the bad areas, if you want to get rid of the bad, so if it's 2 different cultivars, you could try killing. Hopefully, it's just in one spot. But if it's like clumps of it, you can try killing it off. You could use like what I'm using in the beds. You could go with like a glyphosate fusilade combination just on the one that you're trying to get rid of. And what I would do is be very careful. I would put like get like some cardboard and build like a little border around the grass you don't want to damage and spray it. It's probably going to take more than one round to truly get rid of it. And then if you kill that, then you're giving the grass that you didn't kill an opportunity to spread into that area and take over. But that would be something you could try. But cutting it out, like just trying to dig it up and pull it up, is not going to do it. I mean, you'll pull it up, but it's just gonna go right back, because you have to truly kill the grass. You have to truly get rid of it. So hope that helps, Nicholas. Definitely report in, man. Definitely report in on the live stream and let me know. Or if you want, send me an email here to ron@golfcourselawn.com and let me know what they say, what the 2 different grass types are. And if you do that, also send me an email in the email. Send me pictures of it, of the 2 different types, and then what they come back with. I'd be interested in hearing what the results are. All right, next up is MW. He says, on pre-emergent again, question. Can I put it down after tilling again this year in Georgia? My Zenith zoysia never took from early spring planting, but weeds such as goosegrass and yellow sedge came up only. Okay, so you're asking me, can you apply pre-emergent after tilling the lawn? Yes, if you did it in the spring, it sounds like in the spring you did it. If you want to do another pre-emergent app in the fall, yes, you can and should do that. I mean, in my opinion, if you want to keep weeds away, yeah, you absolutely can do a spring pre-emergent application and a fall pre-emergent application. Now, if you didn't say how you are trying to establish the Zenith zoysia. I'm not sure if you can even grow Zenith zoysia from seed. I'm not sure on that one. But if you're doing it by seed, and again, I don't know if Zenith zoysia even comes in a seed. But if you're doing pre-emergent, you don't try seeding it. Your better option is going to be to use sod, right? So I'm not sure which way you tried to go earlier this year, but you said spring planting. But yeah, seed would be a no-go if you are going to be using pre-emergent. So just something to keep in mind as far as that goes. All right, next is Ben Raham. He says, does repeated top dressing / leveling you've done also suppress weeds by causing the seeds to be too deep to germinate? Maybe, but I mean, I would never say that top dressing is a means of weed control. I would not say that. As a matter of fact, most people tend to have a few weeds in their lawn after top dressing, because you got all this bare dirt and soil that's accessible. So that if any weeds that blow into it, they're going to start growing. So in most cases, you're going to have probably a bit more weeds in your lawn for a short period of time after you top dress. But as far as suppressing weeds, yes. I mean, if you had weeds that were 6-8 inches underground, then yeah, and you say you have weeds that are like they're 2 inches beneath the surface, and so you do a top dress and you add, I don't know, an inch of material. That'd be too much. So you add an inch. The chances of the weeds that are now 3 inches below the surface germinating are probably less than if they were higher up. But again, I would not put like weed suppression as one of my reasons for doing top dressing on a lawn. So yeah. Now, as far as the reason why I don't have a lot of weeds in my lawn, pre-emergent, spring and fall, and I mow it a lot. Between that's why my lawn is largely weed free. Same thing for Alice's lawn. He gets weeds the same places that I get weeds, like in a few small areas, like along the borders, along the sidewalks or driveway. Along there, I might get a bit of a small amount of spurge, and that's, for the most part, that's what I deal with. And then along where the back fences, where a lot of water runs off, I get sedges there. So every year there's like sedges that grow there, and that's what I have to deal with. So spurge along the edging, like where the sidewalk and patios are, and then wherever a lot of water runs, the sedges like to live. So I got to break out certainty to take care of that. But top dressing isn't the reason why my lawn doesn't have a lot of weed pressure. It's really a combination of pre-emergent and just lots of mowing. That definitely, it does help. It does help. It's a good question. I've never heard that one. Hey, Naomi, what's going on? So Naomi's in the house. What's going on, sweetheart? Thank you for coming to hang out. Appreciate having you in the live stream. Always nice you take a little bit of time to come out and hang out and chat with Dad for a little bit. I know you got better things to do on a Friday night, so appreciate you. All right, next up is VJM. VJM says, I'm not sure if you have critter issues. I had a mole one time, not too long ago. He says, but you know of any solutions for raccoons digging up lawns? I don't know. I mean, trapping them, I guess you could trap them. But I don't have a remedy for raccoons. There's probably a repellent of some sort you could use that might help keep them away. Let me see if there's anything. Raccoon, let's see. Yeah, traps. They show, yeah, but as far as repellent, I don't. They probably do make a repellent for raccoons. I don't know if there's of a way to do that. What I might say is, if you can find what they like eating, you can get a trap or a few traps and then get rid of them that way. You could try that. But as far as that, or a pellet gun, there's not really. I don't know of any solutions to really keeping them out of your lawn. Maybe trap them and then relocate them somewhere else. I had a mole problem for 24 hours or so, and I got lucky and was able to get rid of it. But thankfully, knock on wood, that I don't get any raccoons or anything like that digging up my lawn. So sorry to have a better answer for you on that one, VJM. So try trapping them or call up a pest service and see if they have any other ideas. But I think trapping is probably going to be the way you're going to want to go. Jeff Ho says, I am an 1 1/8. Dude, how do you measure an inch? How do you know it's an 1 1/8? How do you know it's an 1 1/8 and like not an inch and like, I don't know, a quarter, like inch and a 16th or something? How you know? 1 1/8 is very, very precise, Jeff. He says, so maybe a 3/4 of an inch reset. So I'm just going to call it an inch. So you're at an inch now and you want to go to 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, that's, that should be fine. It's only 1/4 of an inch. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. But is it really 1 1/8 or is it really more like 1 1/4? Because if it's 1 1/4, now we're talking like 1/2 inch, and that I would not do. So come on, Jeff. Which one is it? Is it really a bit taller, or are we really closer to 1 inch on your lawn? But yeah, if it's only 1/4 of an inch you're taking off, that should be just fine. It's gonna look ugly, but there's enough time in the season that your lawn will recover from that. All right, next up is Ben. He says, last year's renovation spray and then turf rake seed, less and different weeds than tilling this year's renovation. Let me read that again. Last year's renovation was a spray and then turf rake seed, less weeds. Okay. Guess tilling brought up dormant weed seeds. Up this year's been brutal. Hence a top percent question. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you till the lawn, yeah, any weeds or any seeds that were unable to germinate, tilling is going to make it more likely or more possible for them to germinate, because you're not bringing them to the surface. You're bringing them closer where they can get sunlight, get water, get heat. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you ran into some more issues with that. But yeah, top dressing as a means of preventing or suppressing weeds, no. Again, what you tend to find is quite the opposite. Is right after top dressing, you may have a little bit more weeds in your lawn than you normally would have had, but then that's a temporary thing. All right, we got a super chat here. Let's go. Let me go to take care of that. I appreciate that. Maxina Chigaru. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
Super chat.
He says, thanks for your help last week. I had Dallas grass issue. Went ahead and dug out lawn, waiting for soil test results. Can I put down pre-emergent now before the fescue sod? Tired of Dallas grass. So you want to do pre-emergent prior to sod? That's a good question. I'm trying to think if that, because if it were Bermuda, I'd say sure, go for it. But I mean, for fescue, I don't know if you do pre-emergent before putting the sod down, if that's going to cause adverse effects. You know what, Maxina? Let me reach out to some friends of mine and get their thoughts on it, because typically for cool season grass, you want to give it a year from the time you install it before you introduce pre-emergent. If you put down pre-emergent before, like I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks before sodding, what you might find is you might have trouble with the sod rooting in, and you might have some problems with it. So I'm inclined to say no, out of just being out of abundance of caution. Again, Bermuda, I'd say sure, go for it, whatever, it's gonna be fine. But with fescue, I'd hate for you to put down pre-emergent and then have your sod not take if you were to do that. So I'm gonna ask around, and if you don't mind, shoot me an email here, Ron at Golf Course Lawn, and say, hey, this is Maxina from the live stream. When I get an answer, I'll email you back. But I'm inclined to say no. If it were me, I would err on the side of no, not doing it, because the pre-emergent is going to work for a lot longer than a few weeks, and it's more than likely going to cause some root clubbing and prevent your it could prevent your sod from establishing, in which case it'd be a very, very expensive expensive problem. So I would lean more towards not doing it. But I will definitely, if you send me an email, I will ask a couple of resources that I have, and I'll get a better answer for you. All right, good stuff. Next up is Ben. He's talking to you guys are having a sidebar, so I'm looking for the next comment we have here. All right, next is Brian Fernandez. He says, hey, Ron, actually, you know what? I've been messing up. I haven't done show sponsors or anything. That's not good, guys. You guys should have called me out on that. What's going on? You guys got to say, hey, Ron, what's going on, man? We can do super chats. Give super chats, and there's not been any show sponsor action. What's up with that? So Maxina, of course, I pick one that's more difficult to spell, but so be it. Shigaru sounds almost like Japanese, the way your last name is. Okay. So you are now the show sponsor, so I appreciate that. And sorry for everyone earlier for not doing that. All right. Brian says, hey, Ron, I live in Buford, and I'm a big fan of your channel. Any information you share with the folks is awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. He says, do you provide local yard consulting, sodded Bermuda yards? So what I will do, I do consults over Zoom. I don't tend to go to actually the people's lawns, because one, it's wanted to be more expensive for you. And then in most cases, I can see what I need to see over Zoom or over like a live stream Zoom session than actually going there in person. So if you're interested, reach out to me. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Or if you just want to have a question, feel free to email me. I'll help you out as much as I possibly can. But yeah, I tend to not go because one, it's just time, man. I'm believe it or not, I'm insanely busy between my real job and YouTube and all the other stuff that I do and martial arts, that just even taking more time to have to go and actually visit people, and then they may or may not be home, and that kind of thing just takes way too much time. So I find that Zoom is a way to ensure that they are actually there, because we can't get on the call unless they're actually there, and it just saves me time. It saves me time, saves them money, and it overall they still get just as good a result. So if you want, send me an email, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I will do my best to help you out. Eric and Stephanie Barron are up next. They said soil test, not the soil, but they're testing their soul. It says the soil test showed low on phosphorus. Threw down high phosphorus, started for. How long should I stick with that, or should I switch to something more balanced? It depends on how low it was. What I might say, Eric and Stephanie, is if without knowing how low your phosphorus levels were, it's a very difficult question to answer. I would say do 2 to 3 applications of the high phosphorus fert, and then whenever you do your soil testing again in the spring, see where you are, and then you can make adjustments based on that. So just stick with that product throughout the remainder of this season. I'm not sure what kind of grass you have, or what kind of grass you have, but I'm assuming, say you have Bermuda. So let's say you're going to do an app this month, you'll do another one September, and then if you're going to do a light application in October to kind of close the season out. Again, I'm answering these questions if you were my neighbor next door. If you're going to do your last light application, maybe at like half rate in October, then you're done with fertilizer for this season, and then do your soil test. Again, if you want to do one a month later or wait till the spring, that's fine too. Unlike nitrogen and potassium, phosphorus doesn't go away nearly as quickly as those two. So if you want to wait a month afterwards to test, you can do that. If you want to wait till the early spring to test, that's fine. That's fine too. But I would do at least 2 to 3 applications and say, yeah, let's do that, and then test to see where your levels are. Again, without seeing your soil test results or knowing where you're starting, it's difficult to give you an answer. If there's a little bit low, 1 app could be enough, right? But if they are very low, then you may need several to bring the levels up. So hope this helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. But yeah, give it a few apps and then do another test. Again, a month afterwards, and then see where you are sitting. See where you're sitting. All right, Latanja Moore says, hello, Ron. Hello, Latanja. Hopefully you're doing well. Hope you're having a good Friday evening. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. Appreciate you as always. And then next up is Optic Cycle. Interesting name, Optic Cycle. Very cool avatar. He says, I pilot leaves in the autumn, layer of grass clippings in the spring. Piano for extra nitrogen. All right, you got me. All right, next up is Cedric G. Says, Big Ron, keep doing what you're doing, big guy. We appreciate you, sir. You're very, very welcome, Cedric. Thanks so much for the kind words. Thanks for hanging out. And then next up, we got another super chat here. One from Travis Winston. Travis has got a super chat. Thank you for that, sir.
Super chat received.
Says, hey, Ron, thanks for all the great content. I ended up stepping up my game to an Allet C24. Nice. It's a nice piece of equipment, man. Nice piece of equipment. LC24 is a nice mower. Really nice piece of equipment. And I'm trying to think now. I know they make some that are interchangeable. I think the C24 is one of the interchangeable ones too, right? Let me check here. Let me see. Make sure. I'm pretty sure that it's one of the interchangeable cartridge. I know they have one. They have a couple that are not, like the Tournament isn't, but the C24 I believe is. Yeah, it is. So what he got is this, man. And one, we got to clap it up too. We got to give you some dap for that. Got to do that. So you guys want to see his new mower? Now here's the thing, Travis. You didn't send us pictures. What's up with that, man? You know the rule. If you bring out a new mower, you got to send pictures to the folks, so we can ooh and ah over it, right? But this is his mower. This is what he got, guys. Check it out. Pretty sweet. Not inexpensive, but I mean, buy once, cry once, right? It's a nice piece of kit, and the nice thing is you get all these. Well, not this one, but you get the interchangeable cartridge system with the mower. So right there, you can see all the cartridges. Looks like they got you have a verticutter, a turf rake. What is that one? I think it's a sorrel roller. I'm not sure what that one is. Oh no, it's a brush sorrel roller, and then I'm not sure what the last one is. I can't make it out. But that's the cool thing. The nice thing about a mower like that is that it gives you the ability to do a lot of the cultivations, to manage thatch levels and debris in your lawn, which is really cool. So you're gonna like it, Travis. You got to let me know what you went with as far as cartridges on the mower. Cool stuff. All right, next up is Shane Cato. He says, around what is the latest time of the year for fertilizer? Depends on where you are, where you live in the country. Depends on what kind of grass you have. If you have a cool season grass, right, like say rye, fescues, or KBG, you're going to start feeding the lawn really around now. I mean, again, and then you're going to feed it until it goes dormant or begins to check out. If you have Bermuda, if you had Bermuda and you live in Northeast Georgia, so you say you're my next door neighbor, you would really keep feeding the lawn this month, next month, and then really see, depending on where the weather is and how the lawn's doing, you might do like a half rate, a light application in October. Light. I do a light application in October. But then, so that's for warm season grass in Northeast Georgia. Late September, early October is the last time I would be doing any kind of feeding of nitrogen anyway in the lawn. Now, take the same grass and put you in like Orlando. You're gonna be feeding the lawn for well into probably November time frame, right? Maybe all year. In other words, it depends on where you are, and when the grass in your area begins to go dormant is going to determine when you do your last feeding. So I'm giving you an answer as if you're my next door neighbor in Northeast Georgia, which for that would be late September, early October. And the early October feeding, you're going to want to reduce the rate. You're going to back off the amount of nitrogen going into the lawn for your last application. All right, Archie Amos is up next. He says, my soil test results revealed low copper. Using the carbon kit with the amounts of copper seems low to me. Can I use a chelated copper fertilizer, 14% copper, to boost the carbon kit's copper delivery? Good or bad? Sure. If you want to spray a product, I didn't realize there was a straight copper product. You can do that, Archie, or you could use something like this, like Nutrizol, that has copper in it. So if you go to the store and then lawn fertilizer, and then scroll down to Nutrizolve, which is on the second shelf. This has all of them. It has your zinc, manganese, molybdenum, iron, and the micronutrients you care about, which is copper, boron, and copper. So it's got all of that. So it depends. I typically apply it at the low rate, the 6 ounces per thousand, but there are higher rates. I want to say there is a 15 ounce per thousand rate. You have to look at the back of it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there are 2 rates that are higher than the rate that I typically apply Nutrizolve at. So that is an option. If you already have a chelated copper product that you like, that you want to try out as well too, you can absolutely do that. That can work well. But yes, I can tell you this, that I know Nutrizolve for sure will mix well with the carbon kit. It plays nicely with that. I don't know what the chelated copper product or fertilizer you're talking about, if that will work well with it. But yeah, either way should work. But Nutrizolve, I would lean towards telling you go with that, because I know there's not gonna be any kind of adverse reactions or effects when you mix that along with a carbon kit. All right, Say Bougie says, anyone dealt with rabbit damage in the lawn? Any ideas for keeping them out? There are some repellents for rabbits that you can use that will help with that. Say Bougie. I have not dealt with that personally in my lawn, but if you look up rabbit repellent, there are some of those that you can use that will help. But from sense of smell, they don't like it, and it will keep them away. But that's the only other way I could tell you. I mean, repellent, trapping them, those are options too. But I mean, if you want to just keep them away, there are repellents that will work. All right, Ben Raham, he says, I'm obsessed on this topic now. I also get spurge along the drive and walkways, probably because the edging is pulling weed seeds up to the surface. Yeah, because the barrier, the pre-emergent, breaks down there faster. Like, it's not, you think about it, like in the middle of the lawn, you're not typically, unless you are aerating it heavily or dethatching it or doing tilling it or doing something really aggressive, the middle of the lawn does not get disturbed nearly as much or nearly as aggressively as the edging, as a sidewalk does. Because I mean, if you're using like a stick edger, you figure you're easily going an inch, maybe 2 inches beneath the surface, depending on how well you have it set up. And that's just pretty much eliminating the effectiveness of the pre-emergent in that area. So that's where spurge tends to show up first. Crabgrass will show up there. Any of the weeds that pre-emergent helps prevent will tend to show up there faster than the middle of the lawn, where for the most part the pre-emergent is going to be more effective. So it's all part of it, Ben. It's not that big of a deal. Again, you can, if it gets bad enough, which it really shouldn't, if it gets bad enough, you can always smack the spurge with some Celsius, or you can just you can pull it. I mean, because what you tend to find is the weeds that root in along the edge of a driveway. If you're out there in the lawn a couple times a week, you're gonna spot them before they really get fairly well established. You're able to easily just pluck them, get rid of them, or if you miss an area and they're getting out of control, again, Celsius. That's what I would say. All right, next up is Vernon Burt. Vernon Burt. It's a good one. He says, hey, Ron, I'm doing both liquid ironite and certainty treatment this weekend. Which one would you suggest I spray first? Thanks for all your help. You might be able to spray both of them at the same time, but if you can't, if you're gonna do 2 separate applications, I would do the ironite first and then the certainty. Here's why. I'm a fan of like any of the sides, your herbicides, fungicides, anything like that. I'm a fan of doing that stuff last and then getting off the lawn. So a good example, like if I'm going to do like a granular fungicide, right? But I'm also going to do, say, a granular fertilizer. I would do the fertilizer first, and then I would do the fungicide last, because I don't want to go out and put fungicide down and then walk and trounce all throughout the lawn again when I'm putting the fertilizer down. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, you should be wearing your PPE, you should be wearing like proper shoes, and and the correct protective equipment, so you don't have a problem. But just in general, any of the sides, anything that ends inside, herbicide, fungicide, insecticide, do those last. If you're doing a bunch of stuff on the day, do those things last, is the way I like to do that. So I would do your liquid, assuming you can't do them at the same time, because I'm not sure if the ironite is a foliar, the liquid ironite is a foliar absorbed product. I've never used the liquid ironite before. But if you can't spray both together, then do the fertilizer, the iron treatment first, and then do certainty afterwards. That is what I would do. And then with certainty, for best results, use a surfactant with it. And hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps, Vernon. If you have anything else, let me know. But yeah, that's sounds like a plan. I might even just test and see if you can't. They will play nicely together. I would think that ironite and certainty should mix fine, but I don't know if the ironite is a foliar observed product. All right, next up is Optic Cycle. He is back, or they are back. I'm not sure. Should be a she. He says, I finally got some Spectricide concentrate for spot spraying over into Ontario. So you got to smuggle it in, huh? You got to bring it in, huh? He says, how much tolerance is there, and how much can I put on each spot that I kill the weed, but not the turf top tall fescue, the perennial rye around it? Okay, so now we're going to let's talk about like applications. So Optic Cycle, I realized you done smuggled some contraband into Canada. You got your Spectricide in. When it comes to spraying weeds, here's how I would say you do it. So if you're going to be mixing it up, let's say the My Soil test kit is your lawn, and let's say the weed you're trying to eliminate is this green patch here. So the rest of this is your lawn, the stuff you want to keep, and then the green patch right here in the middle is the weed. Whenever you mix up the Spectricide and you're about to spray it, per the label, whenever they say, whatever the rate that you happen to use is, when you're spraying with your backpack sprayer, you want to make a single pass. I'll do it like this. You make a single pass over the lawn, over the weed. You can make it at a reasonable pace. You don't have to like go super fast, but just one sweep over the weed is an application at the label rate. If you get out there and you go like this, you spray back and forth, you go like 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, essentially, it doesn't exactly work this way, but you've doubled, almost tripled the application rate. Yes, it's going to damage the weeds, but you are going to damage, or more likely to damage, the surrounding grass. So what you would want to do is, again, mix it up per the label. Do not try, especially if you just got it. Don't get out there and try and like boost it and go and get aggressive and doubling the label rate or anything like that. Don't mix it up per the label rate and make a single pass, single application over the weeds. Observe it. See what kind of results you get. If in 2 to 3 weeks the weeds aren't dying off, you can always do another application. With Spectricide, the concentrations of the active ingredient tend to be lower than what you would get if you got something like, you're in Canada, so you got something like Tenacity, like more of the professional grade herbicides. So you may have to do a follow-up, but again, I would not get out there and mix a batch of like double or triple the rate, and I also would not make multiple passes over the area. You can just make one pass, just one like that, spray it, and you're good to go, and just wait. And then it's just then patience is the order of the day. I would not make multiple 2, 3, 4 applications over the same spot, because you are then increasing the likelihood that you are gonna damage the grass. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm not sure how you got Spectricide into Ontario, but yeah, those are my thoughts on the matter. And again, you can always do a follow-up app later if you want to. But yeah, I would not exceed the label rate at all whenever you're spraying a product on your lawn, regardless where you're spraying it. All right, next up is the Phantom. He says, hey Ron, I am thinking about saving up for the Hudson Star Greens mower. Oh, I think that's a manual, isn't it? Is it the manual real mower? I think it's like $2,000 or something like that. I know it's expensive. I think it's the most expensive manual push reel mower. I think that's correct. Because I was looking for a manual reel that would be good at cutting low. Thanks for your help. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple people that have those. Who has one of those? I think John Perry. John Perry has one. Loncology. I think he has one of those, and he seems to like it. So yeah, if you never want to deal with batteries or gas, and you want a good cut, that's an option. I've never used one myself, but I think I've watched some of John's content, and it seems to produce a pretty good cut for him. So yeah, give it a shot. All right, next up is Archie. He says, I'm in South Carolina, northern end. When should I cut off any fertilizers? Same answer I just gave the other gentleman, Archie. Really, your last app can be late. In most cases, probably late September, mid to late September. I would still do an application next month, but then after that, I would really begin tapering it off. If you want to do a follow up after September, really reduce the rate. So yeah, because even though you're in South Carolina, your temperature, your climate and my climate are fairly similar. For the most part, we're about the same. I mean, depending where in South Carolina you are, we're for all intents and purposes, we have the same weather. And again, it depends on what the weather does, right? Because if it's really hot in other words, if this fall is like last year, where the grass was still green, I was still like mowing in November. Like if the grass it was unseasonably warm, where the grass is still growing fairly aggressively, you might end up doing a fertilizer application in October, a full rate application in October. But if it works the way it's supposed to work, where in October it begins to cool down and the grass starts growing slower, then a light app in October is the way you'd go. So it really depends. The last application, you really got to kind of play that one by ear, depending on how the grass is, depending on what the grass is doing. All right, Govin Prakash is up next. He's like, I canceled pest services and giving it a shot with the Miramichi Green Pest Control. Fingers crossed. Thank you. It definitely seems like a cost-effective switch. Yes, I mean, it's. I'm not sure what you were doing for pest care services, but I mean, a lot of the common lawn pests, or common pests in general, like mosquitoes, roaches, white flies. There's a bunch of other ones that it takes care of. Like this product is excellent for that. So let me see what else is on here. Ants, white flies, mosquitoes, chinch bugs, roaches, ticks, and aphids. I mean, this one guy does all that, and it's non-toxic. So it's, as far as you being able to apply it and then re-enter the area right afterwards and not have to worry about, you getting sick or fur babies having a bad reaction to it or anything like that, that's a good option. So let me know how it works for you, Govind. I mean, there's a lot of people, the carbon kit has been very, very well received, and also the pest control. I have yet to find anyone that's bought the pest control and started using it that did not have like awesome things to say about it. I get a lot of really, really positive feedback on that product. So I think you're going to really like the results that you get with it. All right. Travis Winston says, yes, it is. Yes, it is to what? I'm not sure what that's for, but okay. All right. Let's see here. Ken Kong says, was hoping for some mushroom talk today. I have a weed-free Bermuda lawn that is sprouting white mushrooms. Yeah, so I see some of that a little bit on Alex's lawn, Ken. In general, mushrooms in your lawn, as long as it's not crazy, as long as just a few here and there, is typically a sign of good things happening in the soil, happening beneath the surface. One thing I'll tell you is that on my lawn this year, normally every year I have like small, kind of like it sounds like what you have, like sporadic mushrooms, white mushrooms here and there, particularly in the morning by 10 o'clock or so, they tend to burn off, wilter and burn off. But this year, once I started with the regular turf raking, like managing how much thatch is in the lawn, like really keeping from a thatch level, keep really controlling that, I haven't had any mushrooms in the back lawn. What's funny is there's a couple areas in the front lawn that I still get mushrooms here and there because I don't turf rake that or verticut that as much as I do the back, which is kind of interesting finding. Not something I expected to happen, but that's something that I saw. But as far as doing anything about it, there's not really a whole lot you can do. Thinning out the lawn, my non-scientific observations on my back lawn seems to help with that, like lowering the amount of thatch and how much moisture that sits near the surface seems to help with that. Because again, back lawn, I haven't seen a mushroom all summer, all season, whereas the front lawn, every now and then I still get some here and there. And from a moisture standpoint, the back lawn gets more water when irrigation runs than the front lawn. So you would think the back would be the area where that would be more of an issue, more prone to fungus, to disease problems, and also to mushrooms, but that has not been the case. All right, Ogsan is here. He says, hey, Ron, I emailed you about my soil test. One of your suggestions. Thanks. Great show. I will look for it, Ogsan. When did you email me? If you don't mind, I'll look. I think you email me as Ogsan, but if you don't mind, email me. Either if you send it tonight, I'll see when I get off the live stream. But if you send it like last week or like sometime during the week, just forward it to me again. That way it's at the top of my inbox, and I will get you some answers at the end of the show. Once I'm done with the show, I'll look through it and I will get you taken care of, sir. Not ignoring you. I just got a lot of email, and I don't want to miss it this time. Good stuff. So Ben is up next. He says, I do edge closer to 2-inch. It looks great, but is that too aggressive? Is 1 inch or half an inch more ideal? So you're talking about how deep you set your edger. Really, if you're doing it right, you really want to set it to where it's just maybe just beneath the surface. So like a half an inch. I mean, an inch would be better. Like, I mean, 2 inches, you just dig in a trench. I mean, there's not really a reason to go down 2 inches beneath the surface. So if you can bring that up a little bit, Ben, that'll help. At this point, it doesn't really matter. Like your pre-emergent isn't doing a whole lot for you along the edges of your driveway and sidewalks this time of year. It just really isn't. But if you want to try, you can test it. You can try raising the height of your stick edger up a little bit, and then next season, as you get going in the spring, when you do pre-emergent and start edging and doing this kind of stuff, see if you have less weed pressure along the edges if you go a little higher. I would think you would, but only way is to really test it, right? Only ways to test it. All right, next up is Stephen Michael. We're gonna get out here early tonight, guys. It's gonna be a light night, which is kind of cool, right? Not bad. He says, hi, Ron. My lawn is chronically light green, yet I applied 0.4 pounds of 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Are you talking about nitrogen? That's a bit light. Every 2 weeks since early spring. So, well, that's not true for zoysia. It's not too bad. So 0.4 pounds, so 0.8 of a pound per month since early spring. Xeon zoysia, coastal North Carolina. 1 inch height of cut, soil test normal. Dark spots or dog spots are dark green. Do you try this, Stephen? Try increasing the amount of nitrogen you're putting in the lawn by just a little bit. If you can try getting closer to, I mean, just try going up on a tenth on each of your apps. So try getting closer to a pound total per month. Or in your case, if you're only doing it every couple of weeks, try going up to say 5/10. Go to like half a pound every 2 weeks and see if that makes a difference, if that produces a different result. Because it sounds like it just might not be getting enough nitrogen. Because I mean, yes, we always think about when it comes to dark color, iron and the micronutrients, but nitrogen does play a role in the color of your lawn, the color of your grass for sure. So, and 0.4 sounds a bit on the low side to me. So I might go up to half a pound and see that makes a difference. So that would be my recommendation based on what she wrote there. Alex Lee's in the house. He's a hat tip, my friend. What's going on? Alex? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. Appreciate the support. I know you got other stuff you could be doing on a Friday night, but I appreciate you coming to hang out a little bit in the live stream. Just come say hey. Appreciate you as always. Appreciate you. All right, Benjamin Kane is up next. He says, I had a lawn care company throw down a calcium granular on my yard today. Stated yard could show some yellowing. Do you know anything about that? About what this could be? I don't know. I mean, I've applied calcitic lime to my lawn several times, and I've not experienced yellowing with it. But what I tend to do is I tend to water it in heavily. So what I would tell you, Benjamin, is I'm not sure why they said that. I mean, they're probably just trying to be safe because they may spray or may apply calcium or do lime apps to people's lawns and maybe it causes some mild discoloration. What I would say is this: after they applied it, if you can run your irrigation to water it in, like run maybe a slightly heavier cycle than you normally would, just to really make sure it gets watered in. I have not seen that. I've not experienced the case where using calcium or a calcium app in a lawn has caused discoloration. Not that I've come across. I mean, it could happen, but I've not experienced that. But I mean, it's also good for the lawn care service. Maybe they're trying to cover their bases. They don't want you to yell at them if your lawn gets slightly yellowed from it. All right, next is Orange Duke. He says, please, my St. Augustine lawn is filling up with weeds. Please, what herbicide do you recommend for me? Depends on the weeds you're trying to treat, Orange Duke. But a good combination, I'll just show you here, is a product called Celsius. It's safe for St. Augustine. So you go to the golf course lawn store. I didn't show you that, but I can't. Yeah, go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then to weed killer. And then if you're dealing with broadleaf weeds, which are probably the most common weed you're going to have in your St. Augustine, then this product, Celsius WG, like this is a good product that you can go with that will is safe for St. Augustine and will target a broad range of weeds in your lawn. Along with that, I would use Celsius, and I would make sure I mix surfactant along with it. These two together are going to help you get a better result. If you're dealing with sedges, which the best way to describe sedges, if your weeds look like let's see, like this. I got some here in the Certainty Description: if your weeds look like this, like they look like really shiny, bright green grass, like really shiny, thin. It's a thinner blade, but it's really shiny. Then you have sedges, and if you do, and you have this, if your weeds look like this, then you're going to want to use a product called Certainty, which is this guy, which comes in. Actually, let me back up, which is this guy, comes in this bottle. This is a great product. This is like, I mean, as far as a product for controlling sedges in warm season grass, Certainty is about as good as it gets, in my opinion. And as far as broadleaves, Celsius is also a great product. What we do have is we have a kit that has both of them together, because you can mix them together. You can mix Celsius and Certainty together and spray them at the same time. It includes both products, includes surfactant, and also includes a marker dye, and it is safe for St. Augustine. So you can mix all those together, and then that's going to cover, as long as you don't have like Dallas grass in your lawn, Dallas grass or goosegrass in your St. Augustine, like that's going to take care of it. Like it's a great combination that people have used and have gotten really good results with. So hope that helps. There is a version of Spectracide that has atrazine in it that will work on St. Augustine, but it's a better result. You can get a better result by using the products that I'm talking about here. So just depends on which way you want to go. You will need a backpack sprayer or a pump sprayer. You need some kind of a sprayer to apply them. You can't use a hose end sprayer to apply these products. In the description for both of them, product description for both of them, there's a video that shows you how I like to use them together. I mean, you can do the rates however you want, but in that video I show a mixture and application rate that I like that produces really good results. So hope that helps. Between those two herbicides, that will clean up the weed problems that you have in your St. Augustine. So give that a go and let me know if you have any other questions, if I can help with anything else. All right, Thin Cut is here. He says, I'm late, but I made it. Good evening, everyone. You did. You are late, sir, but you did make it. So we'll forgive you. No worries on that, Thin Cut. And then next up is Russ C. He says, happy Friday. What is a simple method to both relieve compaction and add organic material to small problem areas in the lawn? I'm thinking aerate and then Carbon Pro G, let the holes fill in versus top dress. I think your plan sounds awesome, Russ. So yes, aeration, the big thing for compaction. I thought you were going to ask me before I got to the end of your question. I thought you were going to ask me what product can I apply that's going to relieve compaction and add organic material. And I was going to tell you need to aerate your lawn. Actually go out and get an aerator and actually aerate it, or pay someone to do it for you. But at either rate, yes, your process sounds good. Do like a good aeration, Holzheim aeration, and then do Carbon Pro G or Essential G. Either one of those will work. And then you can top dress if you want to on top of that, or you can just, like you're saying, you can just let it fill in over time. Either way will work. But aeration is a great way to, especially hollow, like one that removes cores, because now you're creating all these voids throughout the lawn, and it gives the lawn the soil a place to relax into. Not much, but it does help relieve compaction, which is why aeration. Aeration is such something that's commonly used on highly trafficked turf. You know what I mean? And what you'll notice, if you've never done it before, Russ, what you'll notice is that after you aerate, if you walk on the lawn, it's going to feel soft. It's going to feel almost like spongy a little bit, because now instead of the soil all being solid, you've got all these voids where the soil can kind of move around a bit. So it's a great way to relieve compaction in the lawn. I would say that make sure that you also, if you want water the day before, that will also help you get a better result with your aeration versus, aerating a lawn it's hard and dry. So make sure you get some water on it before. It's going to help the tines penetrate a bit better. All right, Matt Hamilton is here. Let me see what he says here. He says, a bit late, but wondering if you have tips for hot spots in the lawn, primarily in one area near the edge. I have zoysia, clay soil in North Texas, watering, but drought conditions here. Yes, so I have a product. I'm not sure if it's in stock. It might be out of stock. I haven't checked today. There's a product called Foreplay. So you go to shop and then soil moisture management, and it is in stock. Yay for that. So you've got Hydratane, which is an excellent soil moisture manager. But then a new product that was recently released that is very good for localized dry spots. It was developed for localized dry spots that contains Hydratane. It contains this product called Foreplay. You can get it in either a gallon or a hose end sprayer, and it contains Hydratane. So the main ingredient in it is Hydratane. You've got C Extra, which is their kelp product. It's got a humate, and then also a surfactant, so a soil conditioner. So it's a great product. It's a 4-in-1 product, hence the name 4Play, kind of a play on words. So yeah, I would give this a shot, Matt. So if you want, go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, check out the soil moisture management section. So again, shop and then soil moisture management. But you know what? I'm gonna make it even easier for you because you're here and you don't want to have to go and click around and find stuff and all this kind of thing. I'm just gonna drop it in the chat for you. Right? It's gotta be full service. So there you go. So there's the link. There's the link to the product. I would try that in the localized area of your lawn where you're having some of the problem with dry spots. It should help. Should do a good job. All right. Next up is Paul Winston. He says, hey, Ron, I'm in Georgia. Bermuda's being taken over by crabgrass. What steps would you recommend to eliminate it and set up for a great lawn next year? Yeah, so if you've got a lot of crabgrass currently in the lawn, the best product for crabgrass in a Bermuda lawn is going to contain quinclorac, right? So, I mean, Celsius can work okay. It's not the best for crabgrass, but quinclorac is really going to be your best bet. Here's the thing, though. Kind of like most weeds, like it's going to work better if you're spraying it or applying it to young crabgrass. So we're kind of late in the season now, so you can give it a go. VMH was on that crabgrass life hardcore last year, so I mean it was you can definitely give quinclorac a go, but you're going to get better results with it next year. So, but to answer your question, quinclorac and then pre-emergent is a great way to prevent it from getting out of control next growing season. So here's what I would do. I'm going to send you first of all the link to quinclorac. So there's that. That's the post-emergent herbicide that targets crabgrass. Use surfactant with it. It's excellent for killing crabgrass. In your case, when you do your fall pre-emergent, I would use dithiopyr instead of prediamine because both of these, and I can actually show you here. We'll go back to the store. Both of these are great options for pre-emergent. So shop weed killer, and then on page 2 is you have dithiopyr and prediamine. The thing with dithiopyr is that unlike prediamine, it has the ability to kill young crabgrass. So if you're in Georgia, but yeah, if you happen to go out and you spray quinclorac, right, and then also in like next month you go out and you get your fall pre-emergent application done. So you put down your dithiopyr. If there's any young crabgrass that's still trying to germinate, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to prevent it from really taking root. And if there's any young crabgrass that you missed, that you didn't get with the quinclorac, it's going to help kill that as well. So for your fall pre-emergent, dithiopyr is what I would go with, and then also the quinclorac as your post-emergent to knock the current crabgrass you have back. So that's a good combination where you're doing both a pre and post-emergent. That should do a pretty good job for you against that crabgrass. Next year, same thing. If you want to go to dithiopyr again, you can do that, or switch to prediamine again. That can work well. But just getting a pre-emergent down, both in the fall and in the spring, is going to do a lot for preventing crabgrass in your lawn. And then mowing practices. Just if you're out there, you're just mowing the lawn regularly, you're keeping it a nice height of cut, and you're just mowing, and you have a thick stand of grass. It's gonna in concert with your pre-emergent is going to help you get crabgrass under control. I'll tell you, this lawn here, VMH, this lawn you're looking at right there, that one, if you would believe that last year that lawn was infested with crabgrass, like there was more grass showing than there was Bermuda. And look at it now. These are pictures he sent me today, and this is 4 weeks after top dressing, and he did what I'm telling you to do, which is he got quinclorac, he targeted the crabgrass, took care of it, he sprayed multiple rounds to get rid of it. He used pre-emergent, and then he started mowing and taking care of the lawn, and the result is a lawn like yes, and a year later, it looks like that. So it definitely works. It's going to be a process, but if you're consistent, you stick with it, you're going to be able to take care of it. Crabgrass is one that is fairly easy to control if you follow the right process. All right, next up is Ben Kane. He's back here. He says, last question. No, it's not. Last question. I bought some Turfplex. I haven't used it as yet. The lowest app rate on the back states 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. In elementary terms, how much would you use in a 4-gallon backpack sprayer at 3,000 square feet? Okay. So if you are, so for Turfplex, 6 ounces per 1,000 is going to put out 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen. And that's for 1,000 square feet of coverage. So it is 6 ounces with 1 gallon of water, and that will cover 1,000 square feet, putting out a tenth of a pound of nitrogen. So because you have 3,000 square feet, we're going to take that 6 ounce rate, multiply it by 3. So you have 18 ounces in total of Turfplex. You're going to mix that with 3 gallons of water, and that should cover your 3,000 square feet. Or if you want to, if you walk slow, or if you want to spray an entire 4 gallons of water over the 3,000 square feet, so say you have a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, and and the way you normally spray, you fill the sprayer all the way up, and you spray the entire contents over the 3,000 square foot lawn. So in other words, you're spraying a little bit heavier. In that case, same thing. You would use the 18 ounces, so 6 ounces times 3, in whatever in the 4 gallons of water, and spray your 3,000 square feet with it. So I like the 1 gallon per 1,000 rate. That's what I try and teach people to do, because that gives you some fudge factor as far as getting good coverage. And if you go a little bit heavy in one spot, it's not going to be so bad as if you mixed at a more concentrated rate, which you can do. I've sprayed the entire, my back lawn is like 9,000 square feet. I've sprayed my entire back lawn with 1 4-gallon backpack sprayer, with 4 gallons of just product. I've done that before. But you got to be Johnny on the spot with your application. Like you can't be overlapping too heavy. You can't get too much in one area, because now instead of putting down 1 gallon per 1,000 square feet, essentially I've cut the carrier at about half. I'm using about half a gallon over 1,000 square feet. You see what I'm saying? So if you're, just to be safe, you got a 4-gallon backpack sprayer. The easy rate would do 3 gallons with 18 ounces of Turfplex, and that's going to be that's how I would tell most people to do it. If you were in the Golf Course Lawn Academy and you're in the Facebook group and you ask me, hey Ron, how do I spray 3,000 square feet of 3,000 square feet of lawn? I would say get your sprayer, put 3 gallons of water in it, get 18 ounces. But if you've been using the sprayer for a while, and the way you normally spray has you putting 4 gallons over 3,000 square feet, then keep the application, the amount of active, it's not really active ingredient, but the actual product the same, and then spray the lawn. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, let me know. But again, I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I want to make sure I tell you the why behind it, and just make sure that you have everything that you need to be able to produce a good result whenever you go out and spray the lawn next time. All right, next up is Simone Jackson. Simone is in the house. She says, hey Ron, thank you for all the awesome content. I really do appreciate that, Simone. Thanks for watching. I'm waiting on my soil analysis results. Moved my leveling/top dressing project to the spring. I think that's a good idea. That's a good call. My lawn is slowly recovering from the Central Texas drought. That's a good call. Waiting till the spring is not a bad plan. The lawn's going to recover faster. You're not going to be introducing stress then. It's just that's a good plan, given that everything you guys are going through in Texas right now. And yeah, once you get your soil test results, they should be fairly easy to understand. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. It is ron@golfcourselawn.com. Shoot me an email there, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll get you back to you with any suggestions. If you use the My Soil Test Kit, so if this is the one that you went with, this is the soil test result you went with, in your results, which you will get via email about a week after application. So you take your samples, mail them out, and about a week you're going to get an email saying, hey Simone, here are your soil test results. So you log into the portal, and in addition to telling you what's going on with your pH and then your macro and micronutrient levels, it will also, in the lower left-hand corner, it will tell you it'll give you some suggestions, some product suggestions as far as what to expect in your, as far as your, what to use to help fix the problem. I can actually show you here really quick. Can I do this live? We shall see. Demo gods be with me. We shall see. All right, so if you, let me see, let me pick one here. I don't know. We'll look at this one. Why not? We'll look at Chiming's soil test results. All right, so if you look at this soil test result like this, sample like this, right? This is Alex's brother-in-law's lawn. So he, as you can tell, this soil needs a bit of work. His pH is great, but everything is low. So for something like this, I would say a starter fertilizer would be where you want to go, like a triple 12, something like that, something balanced. And if you look here in the lower left-hand corner, which I'll scroll down so you can actually see it. It tells you, hey, for a granular, you should use triple 12. Or for a liquid, you could use a Bloomplex with a liquid product, which is 18-16-5. So it's going to give you options for both granular or liquid based on these results. So that it should be fairly easy for you to be able to correct the issues following that. But if you have any questions, again, feel free to shoot me an email and I will help you out in any way that I can. Good stuff. And again, good idea on waiting to wait till top dress next year. I think that's a good plan. Ben Raham is next. He says, will pool or hot tub harm the Bermuda? Will a pool or hot tub harm Bermuda? It shouldn't. I mean, I can't see why. I'm trying to think, why would a pool or hot tub harm Bermuda? I mean, it's going to harm it wherever you install the pool because your grass is not going to grow there. But if the only thing I can think about, if the pool is above ground, let's say it's a raised pool, you might, if you are introducing any kind of shade problems, like the grass is right next to the pool, you might introduce some problems with shade where the grass is going to be a bit thinner. But that in and of itself should not. In other words, a pool in and of itself is not going to cause Bermuda to have problems. There's tons of people in the neighborhood that I live in that have pools and they have Bermuda grass, and right up to the pool, the grass looks great. So the answer is no. The only thing that I could see could potentially cause a problem is if it's a raised pool or the hot tub is raised, and by doing that you're causing like a shade problem in certain areas. I think that's going to cause the lawn to thin out and create issues. But yeah, outside of that, it shouldn't. I can't think of why that would be a problem, because literally there's lawns around here. I can go walk the neighborhood and find lawns around here that have they have pools with hot tubs, and the grass still looks pretty good right next to it. All right, let's see. Orange Duke says, please, how high should my St. Augustine grass be? I guess it's 2.5 inches. Okay. Taller is better when it comes to St. Augustine. I think look at Alan, look at Lawn Care Nut. He mows his at like 4 inches, maybe even taller. So like tall fescue, like fescue grass. St. Augustine is the same way. It likes to be mowed taller. Now, there are people that mow it shorter. There's people that actually even real mow St. Augustine, and it still looks good. But that grass type prefers to be mowed taller. So 2.5 inches is fine. If you want to mow it a little bit taller, that's fine too. The thing you got to keep in mind, Orange Duke, is that if you're already at 2.5 inches, that's fine. I don't necessarily go much lower than that. But if you are taller and you're going 2 to 2.5 inches, so you're trying to reduce the height of cut, you are going to have to mow more frequently to keep the grass looking good at a lower height of cut. That's the general rule. The lower you go, the more you have to do in general. But the lower you go, the more you have to mow. So just one thing to keep in mind. But 2.5 inches should be all right. Really, even a bit taller would be better. But yeah, that should be just fine. All right, next up is Govind Prakash. He says, what are your thoughts on the Petra Tools backpack sprayer? They seem to be making seriously good products. I've never actually used it to be able to give you any feedback. I've used their fogger. Their fogger's pretty good. I like their fogger. Fogger was well built. It worked well, but I've not actually used their backpack sprayer to be able to levy an opinion on it. So maybe check out and see what other people that have them, let's see what they think. Look at their product reviews and go from there. Yeah, I think they sell them on Amazon. So they might sell them on their website, but also on Amazon. But see what people are saying about it and just go from there. But I can't really comment because I've never used one. But I can tell you that the fogger is good. I really like their fogger. Works great. You're very, very welcome, Matt. Let me know if you need anything else, sir. And I think we are getting close to winding down, guys. It's going to be a slow night tonight. We're gonna knock. Well, it's still 10 o'clock. I say that. Still three hours. It says, let's see a picture of your lawn. What height of cut are you cutting at? Oh man, do I have a picture? Do I have a picture from today? I don't have a picture from recent. Let me see if I can find one. Do I have anything that is recent? Yeah. So the live stream picture. Let me see here. The live stream thumbnail is my lawn, and that's at 0.75. It's 3/4 of an inch. So go over this camera. I can show you here. That is my lawn. That picture was taken 3 days ago. Whenever I posted it on Instagram. Actually, yeah, check out my Instagram at golf_lawn. Check that, and there you will see whatever day that was. I think it was a couple of days ago I posted that picture, and that's at 3/4 of an inch. That's at 3/4 of an inch. So let me see, golf course lawn Instagram. I can probably actually show you a better picture of it. Let's see here. I think I can show better. But the long short of it is at 3/4 of an inch K jury, and that's the height of cut I'm going to be maintaining for the rest of this growing season. You know, why don't I just send it over? That would be better. You have the technology, Ron. You can just show them live. We can just do that live, right? We can make that work. So this is a better picture of it. Yeah, 32.2 megs. That's not bad. Yeah, so this is a better picture of it. If this will load, there you go. So that is the lawn as of a few days ago. This was taken, I don't know, it was taken a couple days ago. But yeah, you can see the sand is still recovering from the top dressing, and that is at 3/4 of an inch. 0.75 height of cut is where I'm at. And if you want to see video of it, again, check the Instagram, my Instagram. It's golf_lawn. And that's my Instagram, and that way you'll be able to check it out. Here, I'll even post it in the chat for you, Cray Jury. And while you're there, definitely follow me. Definitely, if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. Definitely give me a follow if you're on the gram. So at K Jury, and that is the Instagram for the channel for the live stream. You can see pictures, video there, and if you want to follow, I'd appreciate it. Okay, next up is Jason Sewell. It says, I live in South Texas with sandy soil. Don't have compaction issues, but do have hot spots. Would foreplay or hydrotane be beneficial? Yes. Hydrotane, hydrotane or foreplay is hydrotane. It's like the largest ingredient in foreplay is hydrotane. So you also have kelp and a humate and a soil conditioner in addition to hydrotane. So take hydrotane and add 3 other products to it to help it penetrate the soil and help a case, grass in your case, it has like the localized dry spots, and that's what foreplay is. So yes, I would absolutely give that a go on your lawn. It cannot hurt. It can only help. Ben says, thanks, Ron. Going to get some more Nutrizolve too. You're very, very welcome. Thanks for that, sir. I appreciate all the love and support. And yeah, I think you're gonna like the results you get with it. I love Nutrizolve. I like all the products that Calogel makes. Everything I've used from them, I've gotten really good results with. I'm trying to think if there's anything from them I don't like, and I don't think so. Like everything I've used, the Bloomplex, the Turfplex, Nutrizolve, of course, like those are the primary ones that I've used from them, and they're pretty awesome. They're pretty awesome. They're not cheap, but they work. They do what they say they're going to do. All right, Orange Duke says, please thanks for your answers. You don't have to say please after every time, but it says, I don't have a Scotch spreader here in Ghana. Okay, so I think it's a part of the language barrier. It says, I don't have a Scotch spreader here in Ghana, but I do have the Scotch triple action kill, feed, and prevent. Can I please hand spread it? When you say a hand spreader, do you have a hand crank spreader? Like, where can I show that? Hand spreading, man. I don't know that that's going to, let's see, Scott's hand crank spreader. Can you get one of these there? Like this would be a better way to go. I'm not a fan of you trying to, like this. Something like this would be what I would go with, Orange Duke. So yeah, I don't know if you can actually get this in Ghana. But like something like that would be the way to go. And I can actually show you here live on the Amazon. I think I can do that. Nope, that's not the wrong thing, but here we go. Yep. So check this out. This is what I'm talking about, because yeah, if you try and if you're talking about like literally trying to throw it with your hand, man, the chances of you actually being accurate is not very good. But something like this, which you get like a powered one, or like you can actually make sure you're applying it somewhat at a calibrated rate, is a better way to go. I would not hand spread it. And again, if you worst case scenario, if you want to try hand spreading it, wear gloves, because the weed, there is herbicide in that product, so you don't want to get that on your hands. So wear gloves if you're going to do it. But I can't, it would be, that's a first. I've never had that question before, and I don't know what kind of results you're going to get if you try hand spreading, a weed and feed product. I've never, again, like I said, I've had a lot of questions. That's a first on the channel, Orange. But I would try getting something like that, or try getting a Scott spreader somehow, because you're gonna get a better result. But if worst case, like you're somewhere and you can't get any of that, like you can't get a spreader, you can't get anything, and you're trying to get the product down, what you might do is this: is on that product label, it's going to tell you, it's going to have an application rate. So let's say, I have no idea what it is, like I don't know what your product is, but let's say it's 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet, right? So 3 pounds of what's in that bag goes over 1,000 square feet. What you're going to want to do is, I would not take the entire bag and dump it out in a bucket and do it that way. What I would say is measure out how much product you need. So let's say you have, we're going to use the mythical example of 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. And let's say you have a 4,000 square foot lawn. So 3 times 4, that's 12. So that you're going to need 12 pounds of the weed and feed product. Like get a scale and like take a bucket, put it on a scale, like zero the scale, and then pour 12 pounds of the product into that bucket. And then that's all you have. You can't go out and get more of it. So what you can do is you can start with that, and then you can begin, if you're going to try hand spreading it, what you can do is you can start trying to do it as evenly as you possibly can, and just pay attention to like, hey, how quickly am I running out of product versus how much lawn do I have yet to still get this stuff down on? You know what I mean? You're not using a spreader, so you're going to have to kind of play it. You have to kind of look at how much is in the bucket and how much lawn you have left, and see if you're applying it somewhat at an even rate. But again, I would highly recommend try and get your hands on either a Scott spreader or like one of those hand crank spreaders, or borrow one. Find someone that has one, see if they'll loan it to you for a little bit, because you're going to get a better result that way. The same rule applies. You still should be weighing out the product and making sure you're only putting down that much on, given your lawn. But if all you've got is your hands and you've got nothing else, no other tools to do, make sure you wear gloves, and then absolutely measure out the amount of product you need to apply to your lawn. And, that way you can kind of gauge how you're applying it. So hope that helps. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, sir. But I get it. You got to do what you got to do, right? You don't have the tools. But if you're going to do it as safely as possible, meaning you must wear gloves. Don't pick up that stuff with your bare hands, because it does have herbicide in it. Wear gloves if you're going to try going the hand cat, like manually throwing it out product. I've never seen that done before, but it's not, I guess it could be done. All right. Ben Raham says, I misunderstood the question. It says, can I use pool or hot tub water when draining to water the Bermuda? Oh, yeah. Water with neutral pH, chlorine low, at least from the hot tub test strips. When time to change the water, why not water lawn? I've never actually tried that, Ben. Here's what I would do. I would test it in an area first, because you use other stuff, don't you? Don't you use other chemicals other than just chlorine? Or is it just chlorine? I don't have a pool, so I don't know. But I mean, if there's other chemicals that you're putting into the pool, in that pool water, other than just chlorine, you might want to make sure that those are safe for the grass. I'm inclined to think that it's probably going to be okay, because you swim in it, right? So if it would be damaging to your skin or damaging to you, then if the chemicals would be damaging to you, or at a level that they would injure a person, it's probably going to be safe for your lawn. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. But so I would say this: test it. Get like take a part of your lawn, and that's not visible from the front, like from the front, ideally, and just maybe hand water that area with a 5-gallon bucket. Like pick like a 4x4 or 6x6 area of the lawn, and just hand water that area with pool water for a couple of weeks and see what happens. And if it does fine, I'm just inclined to think it's probably going to be fine, then sure. Then I don't see why not. You're right. You can repurpose the water, right, versus wasting it. But I don't know for sure if that's going to cause any kind of issues. I'm inclined to think no, because you swim in it. And I would think that anything that's going to be safe enough for you to swim in is probably going to be fine for your lawn. But I don't know for sure if there's some weird chemical you're putting in there that might do bad things to the Bermuda. Okay. Let's see. Jared J says, just signed up for the Academy. Just can't wait to see the transformation and learn from the best. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support, sir. Now that you signed up, one of the best things you need to do is within like one of the first few lessons, there's the instructions of how to join the private Facebook group. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do that. Make sure you join the Facebook group because there's a cool set of guys and gals in there that are serious about their lawns. Everyone helps everyone out. So, there's the lessons, there's other benefits to it, but definitely join the Facebook group, which again, there's instructions on how to do that in the course once you get in there. All right. I think we're winding down, guys. Jason says, thanks for all you do and the content and tips. You're very welcome, Jason. And I think you are good. Matt Hamilton has a good idea. He says, if you can't get a spreader at all, you could use a plastic bottle and cut holes in it. That's a good idea to shake it out more evenly using the weight option that Ron mentions. Yeah. So, I mean, for sure, given that we're not going to be using a spreader, like you want weigh how much you need. So that way we know you're not gonna, it's gonna lessen the chance of you putting way too much product down. So weigh out how much you need, and then Matt's just a great idea. You can make your own little spreader. Get like a bottle, and you can use that to disperse it. That's probably going to produce a more even result than throwing it with your hands. All right, let's see. I think that we're almost done. And then Ben Raham says, actually, no, Jason C. Wheel says, Ben, I've done it many times with my Tip 419, no issues. There you go. So there you go. So you've got your answer, Ben. So you can use your pool water on the lawn. Thanks, Jason, for chiming in. And then lastly, Ben says, measure your lawn to know the application rate. Spreader or sprayer type is always a little eyeball method. Look at how fast the hopper or sprayer is emptying. Adjust, feel. Yeah, it's an art. Yeah, it's not set. And that is true. That's a good point. We're about to close out here. But even when you have a spreader, I mean, the earthway spreaders are pretty close, but from spreader to spreader. But even with spreaders, over time, there's wear. There's other things that can cause the application, the amount of product that a given broadcast spreader puts out to change. So you would want to use the application rates that are on a bag as a guide. And the way to know that you're not putting down too much product, a granular product anyway, is to weigh it out before you begin dumping it in the sprayer. So don't take like the entire bag. Don't take a bag that's enough product for 15,000 square feet, fill up the hopper, and then go do a 5,000 square foot lawn and say, oh, whatever's left, I'll just dump it back in, because you might be over applying the product. So measure out how, especially at least the first time anyway, measure out how much product you should be using, add that, and maybe a little bit of fudge factor, maybe a little bit more to the hopper, and then that's a good way to know if your spreader is putting down or is applying the product at a rate that you think it is. So good stuff, guys. Great live stream tonight. Thank you guys so much for that. I have homework to do. I have to work out why the echo, the sound issue, but I will get that fixed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. As always, we still got plenty of time in this season, so do not neglect your lawns. Get out there, mow. It's going to be herbicide. It's going to be pre-emergent time soon, so get ready for that. So definitely watch the content. I'm going to have some piece of content coming out here soon on the subject of pre-emergent. So hopefully you guys will watch that and learn something cool. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing weekend.